Okay, let's do a sound check. See if everything's working there. And let's see if that. Okay, looks like the sound's doing good. Hello, everybody. You are right now listening to Sidney Winston. The show is Reason Speak. I am known as Ask an Atheist, and we are on the SecularTv channel. The disclaimer here is that all views that all opinions and views of my guests and myself are those only of my guests and myself, and not of the SecularTv channel. So you know. Okay, so I'm just waiting for Bunto to join us because he's the one who kicked me in the ass to get this show going. Topics we want to talk about today. Well, the show's called, we wanted to talk about the United Nations and how ineffective and insipid and tepid and weak it is. So we want to, address that. And then we also want to take any suggestions from the crowd, from the YouTube chat, if there's anyone. I guess if there's anyone who wants to interact, please use the YouTube chat on the YouTube page. It's open. So yeah, there was that specific topic that we wanted to basically touch upon and try and figure out what the fuck this world is all about. With, hold on, let me bring myself on camera here. Hello. So seriously, what's going on in this world, right? We've got war and violence and terrorism and nationalism and pan-nationalism and tribalism and sectarianism and all that kind of, all those clashes between those forces. But isn't the UN, the United Nations, there to, keep us all under control, just like our city police force is there to make sure that everybody's, peaceful and keep us under control? But how come it doesn't work for the United Nations? How come the United Nations doesn't have to? How come the United Nations actually exists at all? Specifically, the United Nations police force, if I can call it that. There's no reason for it to exist at all. I woke up this morning to the news that a American woman, had been stabbed to death in London. Now, I don't know, if one person is killed or 300 or 80 or whatever are killed. To me, that's, one person too many. 180, 300, whatever. To blame all the violence, especially in America, on guns is, I think, an avoidance tactic. Because if somebody wants to kill, with a semi-automatic, you can kill a whole bunch of people until somebody shoots you. Which, if you're, if the population at large are armed, then the number of deaths from crazy maniacs will decrease. Because when a guy walks into a nightclub and starts killing 49 people, for example, that happened in Florida, Somebody, if there had been, if open carry, concealed carry, whatever, there should have been somebody there to take this guy out, because I try and imagine that the carnage, the tragedy, the fear, the horror that was happening while that Mateen guy was in that club, in that nightclub, shooting everybody. It's horrible. I was talking to Bunto earlier. Now Bunto's got some kind of a carrot up his ass regarding Zionists and Israel. He's like rabidly anti-Zionist, anti-Israel, and viciously so. So I need to find out what's behind all that, because all the reasons Bunto has given me up to now have been nonsense reasons, historically incorrect. In fact, I don't think he's ever come up with one fact. No, he hasn't. So come on, Bunto, let's have this. I am going to go to commercial. Oh, wait, I can't. I don't have any sponsors. Right, I'm gonna go silent for a while because I need to take 2 minutes. See you in a sec. Okay, thank you. Thanks for holding on, both of you. Big news from the Middle East this week, or today, is that now remember I mentioned the United Nations. They are useless as a police force, right? Get nothing done. Egypt has managed to kill the head of Islamic State in Sinai, which is a big coup for the Egyptians, and a big loss for the soon-to-be obsolete Islamic State. We have a Pulse nightclub. That's right. That's the nightclub I was talking about. Thank you, Hector. No, the show is not sponsored by Snickers. I got nothing at hand to show what it's sponsored by. No snackies. Oh, no, nothing. Well, hey, you know what the show is sponsored by? Old Mother Hubbard. Dog biscuits, baked to perfection. Assorted. Oh, what's pinging me? Okay, there was somebody trying to call me, and I don't think you could hear because I've got my headphones in, which is all good, all good. While we're waiting for our friend, what's his name? What's your name again? Bunto. Oh, before I carry on, I just want to recognize Bunto for making my the reason speak. Yeah, I'll show you. See, Bunto made the actual face in this poster part. Very good, very talented man, isn't he? Hey, Cyprian.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, not too much.
You
We
alright,
are.
mate? I haven't seen you in like a long ass while.
You haven't seen me in a long as well. That's
Yep.
because I have no explanation. I don't know. So how have you been? What's I see you growing your beard nice and thick.
Oh yeah. See, that's how long. Mm,
Look at that.
mm, mm,
You look
mm.
like a mujahideen.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going for that look. Nah, not really. It's not the look that makes us mujahideen.
Us?
It's our, I'm just playing along.
Is that
It's
your
our,
winter beard coming along?
mm, well, it's summery over here, but yeah, it's been growing since January, I think. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are you having a competition with somebody?
Nah, I'm just, I don't know. Recently, I'm thinking I'm fed up with it.
Did you? Does Romania have a razor blade shortage? Just like Venezuela has a toilet paper shortage.
This razor blade shortage is just some. Well, I say some, probably just one friend, lady friend of mine has repeatedly said, "What is there a shortage of razor blades or what?" I don't know, it just feels like such a womanly thing to say, coming from you.
Well,
I don't,
obviously we don't have a shortage of razor blades.
yes, I can see that. I mean, you shiny.
Yeah, hell yeah. Oh, look at that. Look, that is that, look, you can
Hmm.
actually see the light shining. I'm surprised you don't get blinded.
Yeah, my eyes are just fine. How you doing? Am I interrupting something? It seems like you probably were in a thing,
No, I
recording
was
of living
uh,
thingies.
no, I was just rambling along trying to sort of look for something something to chat about that Hector in the side chat there says my baldness is scaring his cats.
They're very receptive cats.
Well, I don't know, the wussiest cats I've ever come across, I guess. Wow. That just sent them running, scattering.
So yeah, I haven't seen in such a long time that I think last time, well, last few times we've talked, um, you were self-employed, if I may put it that way. I'm asking if anything's changed on that subject.
So all the same, everything's the same.
Hmm.
Little different, but the
Well,
same.
wait.
Well, quite a bit different, but the same. Well, totally different, but the same.
But the same, of course. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Are you still living in the same place where you get to walk 10 minutes to work?
Oh yeah. Not 10 minutes. It's more like 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
It's
Are you?
almost. It's almost within spitting distance.
You have to sort of take an elevator downstairs or something?
I wish, but it's just a flight of stairs. I can. It's not even that much.
So you work at home?
Yeah. No. I don't work at home. It's just that I live on the first floor of this house.
Yeah.
I'm right now on the terrace on the first floor. I just need to go down this flight of stairs and 2 minutes to my job. It's like,
Oh, I see. So 2 minute
yeah,
walk to the building you work at.
it's like, I don't know, 200 feet, something, I don't know, in retarded measurement units.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
So
100 meters.
that's what, 300 feet?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
something like that. So what's on your mind? What's been bothering you, or what have you been focused on lately? Anything?
Uh, Not much has bothered me lately. Well, apart from the usual. retardedness and religion and.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
religion is
Did I say that? Did I say that in two different words?
religion is
Oh,
so
I'm sorry. It's just
so
I'm
two
off my
millennia
game.
ago.
But I think, and I was asking, colleagues, comrades, being from Romania, might as just as well play comrades. I've been asking people, do you remember in the 90s, for example, or the 80s? Well, fuck the 80s. Within the 80s, we were a communist country, so no news, no TV, no nothing. But the 90s, at least. Do you remember? This is what I was asked people around me. Remember in the 90s being bombarded with news of terrorist attacks and such?
In the
As
90s?
yeah,
Well, just in Israel, there were terrorist
as
attacks.
compared to how it is today. Like every goddamn other day, there's another terrorist attack.
That's right. No, back in the
Right.
90s, it was pretty much focused in Israel.
Yeah,
And maybe
but
Africa a
not
little
right
bit, but Israel was the focal point of terrorism back in the 90s.
on the news. On the news.
Well, that's where, yeah, obviously, because that's where the terrorism happened.
Yeah, if you say so. Like terrorism happens on the news, no, but yeah, okay. So yeah, I've been asking this, and yes, some people said that on a feel basis, it was nothing to what the feeling is today about terrorist attacks. Like it's so much more involved or so much more, I don't know, fucked up nowadays. But
Well, we're so desensitized
yeah, but
these days, right?
on the other hand, it was such a degree of a lesser exposure of terrorism attacks in the 90s. And recently, I will Google that, and I came across a thing. Ever since the 70s, there's a graph of terrorist attacks and victims ever since the 1970 up until today-ish, maybe 12, 15, not exactly 16. But apparently, all in all, they went down quite a bit by number of attacks and by victims, number of victims. So it's nowadays it's a completely much safer environment on the terrorist attack side of things than it used to be in the 90s, 80s, 70s. But on the other hand, the feeling has changed like 180. It's just the opposite. It feels like there's more terrorist attacks. It feels like there's more shit going down. But if you look at the graphs, it's just like 10 times less. Might be exaggerating, but still compelling graphs. If I had one earlier, looked it up, a graph on Western Europe and the US as well. Look it up. Terrorist attacks since 1970. You'll find the graphs. They've lowered so goddamn much, but still, on the other hand, they seem to be so much more.
Yeah.
So that's a thing that I found at least interesting.
So what you're saying is that the terrorist attacks now are down from those
Significantly
from those of the 90s, but
from the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
I hear you, but I don't remember in the 70s, 80s, and 90s one terrorist
That's what I'm
attack.
saying.
I know, but I don't remember one terrorist attack killing 30 people, 80 people.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. You don't remember that shit.
No, I remember terrorist attacks, but I don't remember that they killed 80 people or 90 or 50 people. They'd kill,
right, so
one or two.
So the graphs, like I said, some graphs are on number of attacks. Some graphs are on number of victims.
Okay. Yeah. I guess it's the number of victims that really counts at the end of the day.
But they're all going down significantly. So
what are you saying? Islam is getting soft?
That's not what I'm saying. Them bastards are getting soft on us. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, what's up with that, basically? And somebody in a previous hangout kind of explained it in a sense. I mean, he said something that rang true. The thing that's different is the proliferation of news, in some part on the news outlet medias, you know, TV stations or whatnot, but in some other significant part on social media like Twitter and whatnot, everything explodes. You see of videos going viral or just news of shit going down, going viral. So everybody hears about it, about shit going down more than we used to hear about them in the 90s, because of Twitter, because of Facebook, because of you know, Google Plus and everything else. We tend to hear a lot more about fucked up issues.
Not only do we hear
happening.
about them, we see them. We see shit happening in real time.
Yeah, yeah. So that's probably the reason why we feel like these attacks are more are closer together, more in, like heightened in numbers of attacks and victims. But really, they're very much going down by numbers, and that's just I found it just interesting, very much interesting.
Now, has Romania ever suffered a terrorist attack?
Not that I recall. I'm not saying it didn't happen. It's just I don't recall any significant terrorist attack. Well, insignificant
How
as
about
well.
any? What do you mean significant? What's the difference
Yeah,
between a significant and an insignificant
as well.
terrorist attack?
Yeah, I mean, I remember in 2000-ish, somewhere, not like a terrorist attack. I remember some shit has happened where an army guy, U.S. Army guy, run over with a hammer, a really well-known singer-songwriter, whatever, from Romania. But that's not a terrorist attack. It's just he was drunk because they feel like, you know, Americans were working in these military bases. They're like gods. Nobody fucks with them. So he was drunk as fuck, and he ran over and killed somebody. And some other things like that happened.
Yeah,
maybe not with
drunk people kill people everywhere every day.
Well, yeah.
And that's not Islamic terrorism, though.
Oh no, yeah. I said that from the get-go. That's not like a terrorist attack.
That's alcohol-fueled rage and stupidity.
Stupidity. I didn't think he did it because of rage. But I think that differs from Romania to the US is that in Romania, there's basically no tolerance on alcohol intake behind the wheel. Whereas, as I hear it and I see it in movies all the time, they have like a couple of beers or even more, and they go driving home. They go to pubs in their cars and, you know, shit like that. Over here, that's a no-no. I mean, people still do that, but they get fucked if they get caught, and they mostly get caught.
Really?
So over here, it's not a thing. Drinking and driving is not. It's definitely not a thing. I mean, it happens, but you get fucked.
Right.
Anyway, so like I said, no.
Well, unfortunately, Hector's had to leave the hangout. However, he did leave us with an important question. In fact, I'm asking you to help our friend Hector. There are elections coming up in November, and he has a choice between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Now, I know you don't have a dog in the fight because you don't vote because you're in Europe. So how would you advise our friend Hector to vote?
How would I vote?
How would you advise Hector to vote? Yeah, how would you vote?
It's gonna sound a bit fucked up, I would go for Trump, but not because he's better, but because he's worse.
I personally would vote for Trump as well, but because he's better.
I would vote for him because he's the worst choice out of the two of them. Well, for different reasons he's worse. For other reasons he's better. But for I mean, for example, if you take into consideration the people that supported Hillary, in that sense she's worse because she got Wall Street.
She should be in jail, from what I've been.
Of course, that's one. But I'm choosing Trump because I think he's the worst. And I'm choosing Trump.
Now,
and
why
I
would you
think?
Okay, explain that.
That's what I'm trying to do. So, economically and politically, Hillary is the worst.
There are Buntos, yeah, finally.
She's basically people be voting for Wall Street in the U.S. If people be voting with her. But on the other hand, Trump is just completely retarded, and I think the U.S. needs a kick. Dude, really? You asking me this? Why do I think Trump's retarded?
No, when
just
you say
listen to
Trump,
him
hold on
saying anything.
When you say Trump is completely retarded, that is probably an insult of the highest degree. How do you back it up?
Yes, I was going for that. Hi, Banto.
Hi. Keep going. I'm listening.
All right. So what I'm saying is, both of the choices are completely fucked up. So anyway you go, you're still gonna get fucked up. That's a given. But what I'm going for is the most fucked up.
Well, I tell you what
I'm hoping Trump gets the presidential seat, and then he goes for the red button or does some fucked up shit.
I think.
So
I'll tell you what I think is good. Let me give my 2 cents here. I think that if Trump wins the election, takes office, he's going to go right away after ISIS. I think that's what's going to happen, and that's going to be the first thing. Hillary, nothing.
Yeah. Well, some things.
What?
Hillary would, I think Hillary would go for the 99%. Against the 99% and side with the 1%. So that's the fuckery that Hillary would cause, I think. That's the, and Trump would fuck up internationally with some planet-sized scandal. Of course.
I think Trump has more experience in international relations than any politician, because he's done business with these people. He hasn't just dicked around and spoken, diplomatically. There's a protocol in politics, in foreign relations.
He kept on
business.
For example, just recently he called on. He put this question: why can't we use nuclear bombs? Right? And people said, because this is gonna happen. Everything's gonna get fucked up. Yeah, but still, why can't we use nuclear weapons? Well, he probably said nuclear because he's.
I never heard him say that, so I don't know what you're referring to.
I think he was just yesterday.
You know what? Since the conventions were done, the Republican convention, the Democratic conventions, I've kind of lost interest until I'm just going to keep out of it until the first debate, and then I'll pick up my interest again. But other than that, I'm not watching Trump. I'm not watching Hillary. I'm not following anything. I'll follow opinion on them, because there's some people's opinions I really enjoy watching, but them themselves, no. How about you, Pato?
Is anybody watching it on the outside?
There's 6.
6 people are watching it. Well, ask questions, pussies.
So, anyways, to keep it short, my opinion is that because we have, or the U.S. has only these ridiculous 2 options to choose from, I would go with the worst which I think is Trump. It's just my opinion. I would go with the worst one because I feel that choice, that result would force the U.S. citizens to rethink and act on that bullshit.
Here.
Whereas choosing the lesser worse, the lesser bad, it's just gonna, yeah, the lesser of the evils is just gonna play into that thing.
But you don't know that
we're
Hillary's...
still gonna go with that.
But you don't know that Hillary is the lesser of the two evils. You don't know that Donald Trump is the lesser of the two evils. I don't know. I do know that Donald Trump will go for ISIS and do something. Hillary's just going to talk, promise, blah, 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 blah. You know, like she's been doing for the last 8 years.
That's exactly the problem. Because that's going to work for the American public. They're going to go through that. They're going to say, yeah, it's fucked up, but, you know, they're not going to take any measures against it. But I think Trump will cause some significantly bad situations worldwide. And
okay,
the reason that's
Okay, so you like Trump, right?
No, I hate him. Even hate.
If Trump was a pedophile, would you still want him for president?
Oh, even more so.
Okay.
That's the reason. That's the reason my vote would go to Trump, because in my opinion, he's the most fucked up. I mean, he's gonna be easier to become a villain in the populace of the United States, in the eyes of the population, I think, and that's what I'm hoping for. I mean, both of the choices are fucked up, but at this point, I'm hoping for the worst scenario.
Okay,
so that the United States people would see that it's fucked.
Do you think it would be okay for a pedophile to be president of the United States at any time?
At this time, yes.
Well, hold on a second. Why would you pursue a line of questioning like that? It makes absolutely no sense.
We're like common people.
If Trump was a pedophile, he would be running for president. He'd probably be in jail somewhere. So
no, look, dude. No, wait, dude. We're common people, right? We're like the 99%, and Trump is the 1%. Hillary is the 1%, right? Well, look, dude. We have to deal with pedophiles every fucking day. Luke Dogg, Rob Beasley. I mean, why should they be any different?
Because they're not running for president. They're running for clown of the year.
They are. Hillary's running for president. Trump is running for president. So why can't they be pedophiles? I mean, we have to deal with pedophiles.
I have no idea how you're arriving at pedophiles and Trump in the same sentence.
You can understand, Sip, right? It's like these are real life shit we have to deal with. Like, why can't they deal with it too, huh?
Well, you're talking about dealing with this shit at the first person plural, like it's both you and I. That we're dealing with this.
Joe common people have to deal with all sorts of people, right, Sip? I mean, everybody, like here in the great debate community, we got freaking pedophiles all over the place. You know, thanks to MG Pillbox, you know, and Positively Godless fishing them out. I mean, it's
I don't know about him. Could be.
We don't even address the shit.
Very true.
I mean, that's just the way I look at it. It's like, shoot, man.
So,
the way I see it,
is that what makes you the most pissed off?
Well, no. I mean, Sip was talking about how he wants the American people to wake up, right? I mean, we have this complete joker, man, running for president. I mean, he is just totally unequipped, right?
Who?
Trump. You know,
how could you say that?
Freaking, there's no qualifications there to be president.
Let's just say this. Trump is 1,000% more better equipped to 1,000% better equipped to be president than Jimmy Carter ever was. Having said that, the results I expect from a Trump presidency over a Carter presidency, of course, are you know, we expect a lot more. We expect success at something.
No. All right. I mean, that's your opinion, of course. I'm saying no. I don't believe that. What I'm saying is, Hillary.
You have to believe it. If I say
is more political. Hillary is more political. She knows how to measure her words, though she done fucked up a lot.
Oh,
Just recently she said some fucked up shit, but she's more political. I'm expecting for Trump to meet, for example, with Putin and say to Putin, you know, Putin, just fuck off. Because he's that kind of guy that would say to Putin's face, you know, Putin, just suck my dick, or some shit like that. And that's going to put the world on fire. Because that's the kind of guy Trump is. Now, Hillary's going to fuck people over with taxes and shit, but she's going to be political about it, and people are going to bite that shit and eat that shit up. And
taxes have never gone down, or prices have never gone down. So I think it's.
But Trump could say some shit like that.
The thing is, like,
I'm on a nuke ass Putin.
Okay, look, for example, Sid, suppose your president there in Canada turned out to be a pedophile, all right? And so, like, you'd have to face all the other countries in the world. It's like, hey, dude, your president's a pedophile, right? You understand that, right, Sid?
Right.
Okay, so I'm trying to say, with Trump, man, just think, Trump is our president, and they're going to come and say, you know, American president's Trump, man. It's like, yeah, you see, it's still that same feeling, man. It's like a total.
I don't think so. I don't see why you say that. I really don't know where you're coming from. I mean, Trump's a businessman. He's a businessman, a very successful businessman.
You wouldn't mind having Trump as president of Canada?
Sure.
Oh my God, take him.
All right.
I honestly believe at this point that Sidney's just. I honestly believe that at this point Sidney's just trolling us.
No, I think that
Honestly.
I think from the economic point of view of running a country and running foreign trade and whatnot, I think Trump has got his focus on that. I think he's also, and he said so, he's got his focus on upgrading the infrastructure, putting people to work, public works. I mean, he's a guy who's going to get results. He's going to have a to-do list, and he's going to have, you know, at the end of everything, it's going to be done. With Hillary, she's still got a to-do list from the 90s, and she's a two-faced bitch. She used to be so anti-gay marriage and all this kind of stuff. Even, you know, and there's footage of her saying that. I believe a woman. She said that.
When Hitler was given the chancellery, they said, "Oh, we can control this guy." Look what the hell happened, man. Anyway, why don't we ask our viewers to chime in with questions, man?
We're losing viewers, my friend.
Yeah, I guess because I freaking pedophiled everybody out.
Yeah, what the fuck, pedophile?
So, anyways, to keep it short, the thing is, Hillary's gonna go unnoticed. I think he's gonna fuck with people, raise a bit of taxes for the 99%, and all that shit, and things gonna get progressively a bit worse. But like, as long as it's progressive, it's just like that frog that you put in a bowl of water and you boil it. You know, you're not gonna notice. It's gonna go with it until you boil. You don't feel the temperature in the water increasing. It's just gonna go with it. She's gonna fuck you over bit by bit and whatnot, and it's gonna be sometime till the end of her term, and people are gonna be a bit pissed, but gonna go with her. But I think Trump is gonna go well for a month or so, but then third month in, he's gonna say some stupid shit like he always does, and cause an international fiasco. And people are gonna go like, "What the fuck did we do?"
Let's hypothesize. Let's say Hillary does get in. Is she a one-term president?
Who knows, man?
I think she could go for 2 terms.
What would she accomplish in a first term that would?
I'm thinking about Bush.
What could she accomplish in the first term that would inspire people to vote for her again?
What the fuck you mean inspire? Look at inspiration. Look at this shit. You got 300 more people in the United States, and you got these 2 motherfuckers going for president. What the fuck are you talking about inspiration? It has nothing to do with inspiration. It's all bullshit politics, going about and exploiting the fears of the Southerners with so many jobs being stolen by Mexicans. Okay. That's Trump for one, and fighting ISIS and all that shit. It's just keywords that people like to hear on Trump's part, and it's just politics and money grabbing and money having into your campaign. That's going to happen on the next term as well. Historically, people have been voting for people that have the most money behind their asses in a campaign. The more money you have for a campaign,
social media that's as powerful as it is today and as real time as it is today.
Well, we had that with Bush.
No,
we had
there was
no, not the same, of course.
Not the same.
It wasn't like mom the word.
Bush was in 2000.
Like mom's the word.
We did not have smartphones like we have now in 2000.
Okay.
We had the interwebs. Anyways.
Well, yeah, but your cell phone was your talk and text.
You know,
I still to this day mostly use Facebook and Google Plus on my PC rather than my phone. It's just a thing. I don't really enjoy doing it on a small screen. But that's just me. I realize billions of other, what they call millennials are just phone-based, and they're not even bother with PCs.
It's easier to hook up on the phone.
Yeah. I realize there's a paradigm shift in that matter, but
huge paradigm shift.
Even in Bush's times, from Romania, I knew of all his bullshit that he's done. And
do you think
spoke and said, and I knew about it. I've seen.
Well, the paradigm shift, don't forget, also includes the fact that the voters between 18 and 24 or 34. The young voters are a lot more interested now in politics and in voting than they ever were, and I think that's because thanks to social media and all that information.
Agreed. I do agree with that. On this side of things, I think it's always wise to consider the quality of the information you get. And in the past couple of or 3 decades or so, like we were discussing earlier, terrorist attacks and victims by numbers, even though they went down, there seemed to be a lot more of them. So I'm thinking, even though they got more involved with this political issue, like voting and everything that has to do with your country politically, on the other hand, shit has changed. The manipulation got a lot more effective.
Manipulation?
So even though manipulation, mass media manipulation became more effective.
Yeah, but that's gone now. I mean, I wouldn't say it's gone, but it's.
Is it gone?
It's just old people like us that watch TV. I mean, I personally don't watch TV, but our generation watches a lot of TV. I mean, when I walk my dog through, I live in a densely populated neighborhood. I walk my dog at night, and you see there's lots of apartments and stuff around here, and I see a lot of them their TV's on, and you can see what they're watching, and they're all watching mainstream media shit. All of them. A lot of people still do that.
Right. Yeah, I agree. But even if people like teenagers or millennials or younger people use more of the interwebs instead of TV, even the interwebs and Facebook and everything has become more controlled. Just for example, Facebook has about half a year ago has started to ban one-sided agenda. I mean, one of the sides. I don't know which one. I don't keep up with that shit. But one of the sides of this U.S. parties was a bit shut down, and people got banned and posts got deleted for speaking from one side. So I'm talking about even internet media started to get controlled nowadays. So you might not be watching Fox News. You're following, Facebook. It's still fucked. It's still controlled.
I watch more
To
Kardashians.
the point that it is controlled.
I get to the gym and I turn the channel to E, and I watch Kardashians and Wags and the tranny show, Caitlyn.
Hello. Hello, Jim. Hello, Mark.
Dude, Bunter, you're so cool.
We welcome Mark and Jim to the show.
Howdy, y'all.
What's going on, Jim?
Don't say Mark and Jim in the same.
Not much.
You're a couple, aren't you?
Have you been going on any hot dates, Jimbo? Christian mingle? I'll take that as a yes.
Do what now?
Have you been going out on any hot dates on Christian mingle?
Who?
Christians.
What are you trying to start a fire there, Banto?
I don't know. I don't know, Mr. Clean. Jim, turn your fucking hearing aid up, man, so you can hear what the hell I'm saying.
Well, I didn't know if you was talking to me or not.
Well, I'm talking to you, man.
Well,
I'm not.
Hangout,
Have you been
dude.
going out to Christian mingle?
Why would I go on to Christian mingle?
Because you're a horny Christian, right?
I'm a Christian.
You're not a horny Christian?
Are you better than the horny ones?
Sir, what I do in the privacy of my bedroom is my business.
So then why? Oh, well, then isn't.
Where's the
Then
biblical
why,
scripture?
hold on a second. If that's true, wasn't that true for everybody?
Sure is.
Right.
It's called-
So
it's
LGBT,
called
man.
tolerance
if it's true
there.
for everybody, then
It's
why
called
are you on the
tolerance.
case?
But
Why are you
what
on
you
the
don't
case?
have the right to
If
do
it's
is
true
call
for
people of the
everybody,
same sex.
If it's true for everybody, why do you get on the case of people who try and get people to admit that they're sinning when all they're doing, whatever they're doing, is in the privacy of their own bedroom? Why is that?
Because
You
that's
need-
not the case, Sidney. That's not the case at all.
That is the case, my friend.
No, not at all.
It's everybody's bedroom is private, not yours and everybody else in the world. So you have no right to tell anybody else what to do in the bedroom.
Sidney, true tolerance, if you want to know the definition of true tolerance...
I don't want to know the definition of true
Okay, well,
tolerance.
fine.
I didn't ask you.
That's good
I
then.
didn't
Well,
ask you for the
conversation's over.
definition. I didn't ask you for the definition of true tolerance. So why are you giving it to me?
Then why are you asking me questions if you don't want to know?
I think he wanted to know something else.
I was asking you where do you get the entitlement to stick your nose into other people's business when you don't want other people to know what you're doing?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
Sidney, the difference being is that I'm a married man. Married legally,
Okay,
and biblically.
Mark, let's get married. And then
Was your wife a
Not
virgin?
married.
Was your wife a virgin when you married her?
Bunto, I'm already married.
Jim?
all
Was
we
your
have to do
wife,
is get married, Mark, right?
Jim? Christian
To a woman.
Hillbilly, was your wife a virgin when you married her?
Oh my God, Sid.
Well, it's relevant because
It's
there's
a
a
biblical
passage
question.
in the Bible.
It is a biblical question, or a biblical standard at
Yeah,
least.
scripturally based, Jim.
Well, I vote
Wanna know the
that
answer. He won't even acknowledge what I just told him.
considering that Christian Hillbilly's wife, was not a virgin when they got married, I think she should be stoned to death according to the law. Now, I'd like to see it done on my show
Sidney.
right now.
Sidney,
I think instant justice
what
is
were the
always
Old Testament laws for, Sidney?
Old Testament law, no such thing. It's fiction.
Sidney, what were the Old Testament laws for?
For entertainment. It's because it's fiction
Love it.
entertainment.
You're not interested in knowing the facts. I'm not
Jim,
going
don't get
to
all
play that little game with you today. I got time for it.
Oh, Jim, getting all butthurt because I'm an atheist and I don't buy into
Butthurt?
nonsense.
Friend, you ain't got the intelligence to butthurt me. I don't want to burst your bubble or nothing, but...
Okay, so look, Jim, just to get to the meta of the question, you look down on things like Christian Mingle, you know, dating sites for Christians?
No.
Well, I mean, is there like some sort of scriptural basis for hookups, for Christian hookups?
If somebody's looking for a mate, if somebody's looking for somebody that they can actually become married with, get to know, and become their soulmate, the way the Bible talks about, if they get introduced to something like that, there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, there's something wrong with it because they didn't have internet back in Jesus' time.
How do you know? Were you there?
You know what? They didn't have a lot of things back in Jesus' time. That don't mean anything.
They didn't. They had more in Jesus' time than they had in the ancient Greeks' time and the Sumerians' time.
They had gays in Jesus' time, obviously.
Right.
Obviously.
Hey, Jimbo, if like Grindr says that they're pro-monogamy, so you would be for Grindr, right?
Nope.
So he knows what Grindr is.
You just said it's all about monogamy, monolove.
Okay, can
well,
somebody explain what Grindr is, and then we'll carry on?
About one man with one woman, loving and committed to each other and loving and committed to the next generation. Now, if that site wants to do that, then that's still the definition of biblical marriage. Whether they want to call it that or not, hey, that's great.
Fictional
It doesn't have
marriage.
to be Christian, but it's still the definition of marriage. They want to do that, I don't care what they call it.
So it's about loving. So it's about love. If they love each other, it's alright by...
That's right. What about just simple love between two people?
I think
Christian
that's what
hillbilly?
you said, isn't it? Maybe I got it wrong, but isn't that what you
Christian
said?
hillbilly is anti-love.
I think I'm going to get on Grindr tonight and practice
yeah.
marriage.
Hey, but look, man. Okay. You know that preacher that got in trouble, Ted Haggard? He really didn't do anything wrong, right, Jim? I mean, he was married.
Really?
To a woman.
Really? Yeah, he did a whole lot wrong.
But
Come on, it was just
asked forgiveness.
methamphetamine and male hookers. What do you mean?
And he asked forgiveness.
Yeah.
And he's a preacher at a church telling them what not to do, and he does exactly what he tells his parishioners what not to do.
Yeah, that's kind of a problem.
Well,
I would say that's
it's sort of a religious problem.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, what's wrong with live and let live? That's what I want to know.
That's a good point.
Why can't
Because
why some people need to go in other people's bedroom and judge motherfuckers on their personal beliefs, judge some other people.
Absolutely, you tell him.
The sanctity of their homes, their
tell him.
their asses, whatever.
What do you say, Jim?
Is live and let live a bad example or a bad idea?
We had a prime minister about 30 years ago, maybe 35, 40 years ago, who said that the government has no business in the bedrooms of the nation. I agree with that.
True that.
If they were in my bedroom these days, they'd be bored to death.
I'd go to his church.
But anyway, Jim, you have a really good Christian marriage, right?
Yep.
Okay, so can't you just film it, throw it up on YouTube so we can watch the example?
That's not what Christians do.
Well, can you throw up a YouTube of you and your wife talking to each other, being nice to each other, and loving and everything?
Nope.
You don't have to touch her.
I mean,
I know you hate doing that, but
Oh, but be an example.
Lady, so she doesn't like that.
she's a lady, so you don't have sex with her because she's a lady. Well,
it's not the Jewish thing.
I have a hunch that Christian Hillbilly is wearing a mask, and he doesn't perform his marital duties, his conjugal duties, as expected.
Jim.
Oh.
And I'd like to have Mrs. Christian Hillbilly affirm that.
Hey, Jim, how did you learn to have a perfect Christian marriage? Through the Bible or through, just winged it?
Actually, from screwing up the first few times. When I realized I was doing it wrong, I wanted to figure out how to do it right. So
well, why didn't you fix it with the first person?
Do what?
Why didn't you fix it with your first marriage?
Well, you can't do that when you've already broken it and they've married somebody else.
True.
Whore. She'd be a whore.
That's the hard line.
So the question then is, Jim, why do women keep on leaving you?
Sidney, you're mumbling. I can't hear what you're saying.
Why do women keep on leaving you, Jim?
Look at them.
I don't know. I don't know, Sidney. I don't know. What are you saying? I don't know.
You have to get a hearing aid, Jim.
Somebody needs some idol.
Is my audio really that bad?
No, we can hear what you're saying.
Are you all right?
Well, listen.
Jim needs a little bit of a little less Christianity in his life. He'll be a lot saner.
Hey, Mark, why don't we start Christian Grinder?
Like the moron, that don't work.
Like the regular grinder isn't bad enough.
So what is Grinder?
It's an application that tells you, that somebody's within so many feet of you, or, and do you want to hook up? And,
Hookups.
Yeah, it's a gay app.
Oh, okay, that explains a lot.
Oh, they don't got LGBT. They don't have L on there. They only have dudes.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it more now.
Isn't it Linder for lesbians?
Oh, I got a message. We should hang out sometime. Oh, hell. We should
Who was
hang out. His name is Flame Boy. Let me see.
You couldn't afford me. Say that.
Oh, holy mother of God. Well, he's 400 miles away.
Don't be blaspheming up in this motherfucker.
400 miles away? A couple hours.
Yeah, he's. I'm blocking him because.
Was that on Grinder?
Yeah, he's looking for a sugar daddy.
No. Well, I mean, he's honest.
Sugar.
Okay, Jim, do you know what a rent boy is?
No.
Okay, what do you think a rent boy is, Jim?
Young man's been out in the sun too long?
A Red Bull, the drink?
Didn't they have them in biblical times, Mark, the rent boys?
Well, they were called prostitutes.
Well, I mean, male prostitutes.
Yeah, male prostitutes.
There were male prostitutes in the temple.
That's what their problem was.
That's what they were talking about.
But also in Persia, everywhere.
That was the problem.
Afghanistan.
It was pagan. It was much cooler then, in those days when everybody could do what the hell they wanted, and not and not care what anybody else did. Just like we want the world to be like today. Before the likes of the fake, the mythical Jesus came around, life was a lot more tolerable between different cultures, especially during the Roman Empire.
Possibly.
Everybody tolerated each other. They were all pagan, and they all accepted each other's pagan beliefs. Yes, they did. Yeah.
But anyway, Jim.
Jim, if you ever learn to read, I suggest you read some history.
I've read the
How about, for example, Alexandria, the largest library in history, so many centuries ago,
Got burned down.
was like basically like the New York of nowadays. All the people from all across they contributed a lot of ideas and books, scriptures, I must say, and they built the Library of Alexandria, which was burned down by.
Yeah, it was there. Yeah.
Some people on Grindr burned that shit down.
Who burned it down? The Persians?
I think it was the Romans.
Some people on Grindr, I think. At that time, they were called, I think, Christians. I don't know.
No, the Christians wouldn't burn libraries down.
Oh, no, they wouldn't.
They burn Jews instead. But look, not to diverge away from the homo, Jim, they say that the part in Romans, the book of Romans, that they're saying, a man shall not sleep with another man as a woman, that was aimed at the rent boys. It wasn't aimed at homos in general. Have you ever heard that point of view?
I have.
I have, and it's a load of crap.
No, it is
really?
not a load of crap.
It is a load of crap. Do you think God is schizophrenic and
That's
doesn't
yeah.
know how
It's,
he...
it's been like
I think God is
schizophrenic.
Back up. No. You think
God,
God is
as you know.
schizophrenic and doesn't know how he created? No,
God-
he created... Excuse
Christian
me there,
Hillbilly.
Sidney. Why don't you sit back and maybe learn a little something?
Well, Christian
God
Hillbilly, I'm going to teach you something right now, okay?
He created...
The God, any God that you refer to, any
God
God that you refer to,
created Adam...
any God that you refer
created
to,
them male and female, and as such, he created them to function.
any God that you refer to is imaginary. Any and every God, okay? And I want you to be quite clear on that. Okay? I've hidden you so that I could give you this message. Now, I don't want you to take it personally, but your preaching of your mythical God is not falling on anyone's ears who wants to listen to it. So please stop. There, he's back. No preaching. This is secular TV, a secular hangout. We do not tolerate creationism nonsense. Your Christian hobby is a hobby that if you like, if you enjoy it that much, then go ahead and practice it. But preaching, we don't take very seriously at all. So your best bet, Christian Hillbilly, is to listen and learn.
So I can grab out my copy of the Gay Agenda and process.
Oh yeah. Screen share it, please.
Yeah, right. I'm sorry, I never got a copy. Never got a copy.
Anyway, in your estimation, Mark,
it just sounds like you immediately closed that tab on your browser. I closed that tab and I never got the agenda.
Mm.
right,
Yeah.
accidentally.
I'm
So-
kidding, of course. I'm sorry.
So the gay agenda that you're referring to is something that is it a platform with planks, or is it just a kind of a cloudy word?
I don't know what the hell it is, to tell you the truth. I
That's what
just
they
hear
accuse us of.
the Christians constantly, oh, the gay agenda, and I was always pissed off because I've never heard of it.
Well, that's
I've
because
heard
the Christians
an
probably
agenda.
created it.
The gay agenda right now is to get transsexual into the bathrooms.
What if they don't want to
Oh
go to the
shit!
bathroom?
That's the gay
Dude, that's so
agenda.
progressive of the gay agenda.
I
That's so
think
progressive.
I think it should be legal. I know that America, well, actually the whole, specifically America, they've made this gay sex thing. You can only get married if you're gay. But I think America should be allowed. They should allow couples who are straight to also get married. I think it's discriminatory to have to be gay in order to get married in America.
That's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
No, boy. Anyway, as far as the gay agenda, it's just, I can see like gay movements, but I don't see anything like the whole group of LGBT, and the disparate,
But
facets.
look. One thing we can say about the LGBT group and the Christian group is that the LGBT people are way nicer and politer and tolerant and just all around more grounded and sane.
Is that true, Mark, what we were hearing last night or a couple nights ago?
Is that true? I would say no, absolutely not.
Okay, one thing, Mark, we're talking about another hangout, guys, that Mark and I were in. Okay, how did that young man kind of strike you, Mark? Just, in the general sense of his delicateness.
What young man?
The young man that we were talking to about LGBT stuff about 2 or 3 nights ago. Remember, he was saying how out of place he felt like in the club scene and so forth.
Oh,
and,
him? Okay, what's the question?
Like, how delicate did he come off to you? Did you, you know, he didn't, like...
Okay, I think that I'm a natural-born bully, and weak people get on my nerves, and I really wanted to kick him in his face. So how's that for nice gays?
Well, I know, because it was like... Because, like, Sid says that we're all nice and stuff like that, but it's like, there's this victim mentality, right, Mark, that's in some of the younger ones, and it's like, oh, man.
It's like,
bullying.
Is it like a sort of a dominatrix system that gay people have, as well as straight people?
But they don't listen to us, Sid. I don't think young people listen to us, Mark, do you? I think they just freaking ignore the shit out of us.
Yeah, because, I mean, if you're in a victim mentality, you don't want to hear anything else. You just want to be a victim. And you want people to feel sorry for you and make excuses for you. And this whole bullying thing, like I said, well, they call me gay. They tell me to kill myself. Well, what the hell do you think happened to us? And we didn't have any special little snowflake groups. And it's like we didn't, and we survived. I mean, you either survive or you don't. And everybody gets picked on for something.
Right.
I mean, it's like, you know...
Everybody gets picked on, man.
Yeah. So, it really...
You know, one thing, Mark... Oh, just one thing, Sid. The last thing I'll say is, like, Mark, it does pain me when I see these stories of, like, the young trans girls killing themselves, you know, because of bullying.
Okay.
You know, I do feel for them, but then I sort of, you know, I'm like...
Did you just say, mm-hmm?
Mm-hmm. But then I'm like, man, they had to get...
mm-hmm. Preach it, girl.
So, yeah, once in a while,
Sorry,
I can do good on it. But what do you think, Mark? Like, they gotta get tougher. Oh.
I mean, people kill themselves for a lot of different reasons. And that seems like, I mean, if you're going to be bullied all the time and everything and you feel like that's the way out, then bon voyage. I mean, I feel bad, but what are you going to do?
Look, the thing is, people make bad decisions. A lot of people make bad decisions a lot of the time. It's just that when you make a decision to commit suicide and you succeed...
Hey, Moto, I just shared a link to you.
Yeah, I saw it.
I mean, how rude was that?
What?
That is one of the books that came out about 30 years ago about the straightening out, or whatever it was called. It basically laid out the parameters about what these people wanted to do to get the gays brought to the forefront of America.
Okay,
I swear Sidney was talking.
Oh, I can't hear him. I muted him. I don't want to hear him.
Well, then I think you should be kicked. Fuck.
I'm gonna go ahead and mute that sucker as well.
You got kicked. Anyway, yeah, he sent me the Protocols of Zion for gays. Anyway, keep going, Sid.
How rude.
What? Me?
You broke your concentration.
What was he talking about?
Well, people kill themselves, and you know, suicide's a one-way choice. You know, people make bad decisions.
Right. Now, suicide. Thinking about it is probably, you know, bad enough, right? But when people go to the extent of actually trying to pull off a suicide and they succeed, are they better off than if they attempt a suicide and fail but are maimed or in some way paralyzed for life?
I think for one, Sidney, I think for one, most people that are only trying to suicide are using methods like pills and such that are not paralyzing you or are not fucking with you for the remainder of your life. These
I'm referring to
so-called.
I hear you, but I'm referring to people who hang themselves, or let's say they hang themselves and they're not successful.
They cripple themselves for life. I mean,
they
it's
just
end up with a
restrict oxygen to their brain.
Like Christian Hillbilly must have tried.
Mark. Anyway, I mean, well, here's one, Mark. You know, I know you don't like transgendered, but let's suppose your kid was transgendered, and you know they're talking up suicide. How would you break them? How would you disabuse them of that notion?
Disabuse?
Disabuse somebody of committing the final act on themselves.
Is that really a word? Disabuse?
Yes.
You know, that's
Okay,
a very
my
good
bad.
question. How do you what's the word? Calm a situation down to the point where somebody who's suicidal is able to think for a second.
Apronate.
ECT works.
Go ahead, Mark.
ECT.
DCT.
If someone is severely, what's all this? If someone is severely suicidal, ECT will snap them out of that.
ECT.
Electroconvulsive therapy.
Oh wow.
No,
What is that?
I'm
Is that
talking
like
about somebody standing on the
drug?
bridge
Oh,
ready to
okay.
jump.
Oh, okay. Then you just shock them with a regular old wire. No. Let me see.
I think a bullet to the head will cure that.
Yeah, no, you just say boo. Really? I don't know. Tell them that they're loved, you know, and
They loved. Oh yeah, that'll work.
well, I don't know, or just go
I'll be
have
right
some
back.
lunch.
Just ask them if they want some chicken soup, and they'll think, I could either jump off this bridge.
Well, you know, the thing is that the person at that moment really feels that their self-worth is like close to zero. So somehow you have to, you know, pump up their self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
I feel.
Nice pumps, honey. Why don't you come down? You know, I don't know.
I don't know. I just tell her like,
It's almost an impossible situation.
Well, the thing is, I believe that it's very possible for a society to have a medical system in place where mental health is just as important as breast cancer, and is monitored from the very beginning of your life. I think it should be.
Yeah, I agree.
And if it is that way, then you know the number.
But
of...
the only thing is, many a time you can't rely on the state. You have to do it yourself. Would you agree, Mark? You know, you're that parent of the person, so you have to do your parenting.
Yeah, and for someone who has attempted suicide a couple of times, there wasn't a lot of help there. Trust me.
Anyway, one thing that
I don't
know
think you
Mark,
can blame the parents.
well,
At least you can't. I mean, you said, well, it's the parents' fault. Okay, well, if it is the parents' fault, fine. But the damage is still done, and the damage can be mitigated if not every parent knows how to parent. Okay, but if there was a program in place where mental health and counseling between parents and children was like not a thing. It was just freely available and was there and wasn't stigmatized. Don't you think that would go a long way into helping?
Yes, it would, Sid.
Helping.
But Sid, right now in America,
society nurture.
Sid, right now in America, our educational system is scared to death of taking any responsibility towards the child because you know they fear the lawsuit, so they won't do anything that seems, you know, close to authoritative towards a child, unfortunately.
Cyprian?
You're muted.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Hello? All right.
Hello.
Can I share this Hangout link to Kila privately?
Sure.
You know Kila? Okay, thanks.
If you know Kila, then that's good.
All those
I
Bulgarian.
do, dear friend of mine.
And one thing I bring up, you know, just across my mind,
Jesus Christ.
talking to Mark, I know you really don't agree with, you know, transgendered, but in my mind, I do think it's like, you know, it takes a lot of guts to go trans. Yeah.
No, Mark.
Me? You talking about me?
Mark. No, I'm talking Mark.
Oh, okay.
What is it, Mark? What is it that there's a kind of a tension between the gay people and the trans people? Like, what's all that about?
Because it's not the same thing. It's a lot of people think that gay people should automatically understand what this transgender thing is about, and we just don't. And I don't. I think it should be separated. I mean, it's not a gay thing. Someone who wants to dress in women's clothing or change their sex or whatever, that has nothing to do with homosexuality. As far as
I see that. I can
So,
easily see that.
well, hold on a second. That's not true, because all the people who do get dressed up or cross-dress and go out anywhere, they all go to the gay club. So they don't go to the straight
No, they
clubs.
won't.
No, no,
Yes, they
no.
will.
Yeah, they're on bars too.
Absolutely not.
That,
There are many heterosexual men who are cross-dressers.
Right.
Maybe they are, but I'm not saying. I've never seen a line outside of a club, a heterosexual club that has cross-dressers standing in it. Yet, in all the many gay clubs in the area here, when I see lineups, and I'm walking down the street and I see lineups. That's where I see that's where I see the men dressed up as women. The drag.
Because it's accepted there. It would not be accepted in a heterosexual bar.
Yes, exactly.
That is absolutely not true. I have to
No,
just
yes,
say,
it is
and I'm being nice to you. I'm being very nice to you. That is not true.
A transvestite going to a straight bar would be a guaranteed ass kicking back in my day.
What country do you live in? Like Siberia?
America. That was America just a short time within my lifetime.
Fuck, you guys are literally 200 years behind the times.
Yes.
No,
absolutely.
I think you didn't really get it. I think it's just me. You know that stand-up comedian that likes to cross-dress. He likes to, just, live.
Monty Python.
They're an English guy, I think, right?
Yeah, right. He's not gay by any means. He just feels better in women's clothes. Now, just because that, he's not gonna go to a gay club because he don't go that way. He's still heterosexual, but he just enjoys, putting lipstick on him, and that's the extent to which his thing goes.
Mm-hmm.
He's not gonna go to a gay club just because he likes dresses and lipstick.
Okay, so therefore he's not gay.
That's what I'm saying. No, he's not gay. He's
But the thing is that
I don't see why you're talking about people who are not gay. We specifically are talking about why do the gay hate the transvestite.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Now you come out. It's changed. Instead of explaining why gays hate transvestites, it's now explaining who's gay and who's not gay.
Sid, this is what happened. They put all LGBT in a group. We're put together in a group. And then when we, as we progress as a movement and see our identity, we can see the differences between us, And so now we have this faction that's getting a lot of heat, the trans, right? Mark feels like they have nothing to do with the, LGB, right, Mark? But I come from the other end of the spectrum. I think we're all on the same team, so I have to express solidarity with him, Mark.
That's fine. I also think that there's a level of fear. Some of us don't understand them. Like I was saying, that when I look at a transvestite or whatever, I see a clown. I see a mask.
That's cool, Mark. Mark. Okay.
I find that
hard. Can you not understand somebody who feels they were born in the wrong gender?
Mm-mm. No.
Why not?
I have an opinion.
Because I have no experience.
Go ahead, Sid.
I just have an opinion, of course. I'm heterosexual, but I'm thinking homosexuality, female and male, are the closest you can get to heterosexual, because they have their eye for a certain gender. Like being homosexual, you have an eye for males.
Same sex.
Being lesbian, you have an eye for females. So it's pretty much fucking clear what your eye is open to, what your thing is. So it's pretty much clear. But then there's this trends, all sorts of other different sexualities, which are not that clear. I mean, and I think to some extent, well, to all extent, should not be encompassed by being gay or putting the same thing. Like, if you're not straight, you're all the same. You're all the same group of LGBTQ, right?
Okay, well,
So
what I'd say to that,
you might be homosexual, you might be lesbian, which is the same, but you're in your eyes, you're straight. You have that target. You
right?
either love men or women. It's straight. It's
Okay.
clear. You have a target. But you know, some other different genders are not that way. So I don't think they should be
But, okay.
encompassed in the same group.
Okay, I'll answer that easily. Okay, so we are a distinct minority, LGBT, right? It's
Right.
not because of our sexuality. No, we're all to the outside. All the straights put us into this group.
Oh, right.
Okay,
Right.
so
In
it's
that
like,
sense, yeah.
you know, we can see the distinctions among us, but the thing is, like, if we break up, you know, in our little minority, then it becomes even smaller minorities, and we're trying to progress together to
Right.
get things. So, you know, if we break apart, you know, trans over here diverges from LGB, you know, I don't think they're going to
Right.
have anywhere near the power they have when they stick with LGBT.
No, I
Okay.
get it. I know what you mean. I mean, as a complete group of different types of outsiders, you have the same plight.
You know, for
Fighting
example,
for the
let's
rights
suppose
of
somebody did
outsiders.
this, Sip.
On one side,
Sip,
but on the other side,
suppose somebody did this, Sip. Sorry to interrupt. Suppose somebody said, hey, why don't we adopt pedophiles into LGBT, right? Like, there, I think the walls would start.
Well, why not?
The walls would start building up. It'd be like, wait a second, we're just getting too many letters here, just too many. You know,
Okay, but why not? It is sexual orientation.
I don't know, dude. I mean, I
I
would.
don't think it's sexual.
Well, how is
I
pedophilia
don't think it's
consensual?
sexual because
Excuse me?
people have the same sex.
How is
I don't think it's
pedophilia
sexual. I think it's
consensual?
age.
I can't hear you
I
because
think
Sip
it's
is
mostly
going.
ageism. Dude, you said it's still sexual. I don't think it's sexual. I think it's ageism involved. You're not attracted to the opposite sex or the same sex or a different type of sex. You're just attracted to a sex, but not exactly the sex, but the age of the person being of that sex. So it's not about the sex itself being like gay or straight or whatever. It's about age. So then, I think the first most label to put on that on pedophilia is not about sex. It's about age. Now,
Very good
with
to
sex,
see,
with,
but
with sex, I would say, you know, we can accept things, different types of sexualities. We're good. But age, different types of ages, like minors and shit, that's
fairness. The thing is,
The problem is that you don't have consent. You don't have consent.
I
fine,
understand.
you're absolutely right.
However, it's still a sexual orientation.
Sure,
towards what?
but you know, it's not like the LGBT have the choice, Sip. It's like they push them into us. See what I mean? That's at that point I would
Right,
say,
yeah.
you know, let's get the G breaking off because we don't, you know, we're tired of this forcing into us. Wouldn't you agree, Mark?
Yeah.
You know, that they're piling shit onto us. We're like, how many letters of the alphabet now?
You know, my biggest complaint is the fact that I don't appreciate someone assuming that I'm gay because I'm a homosexual. I mean,
well, that's a
What? It's the same
Very-
thing, isn't it?
no.
difference of distinction,
fuck's sake.
Mark,
Now
that you need to explain to people because it's not going to make a lot of sense to them.
That's the first time I've ever heard that gay and homosexual are not the same thing.
They're not. Gay
Go
is
ahead, Mark. Explain that.
homosexuals are a homosexual male has an attraction to other males. Period. It has nothing to do with feather boas. It has nothing to do with drag queens on skateboards
Yes.
going down Main Street and calling it pride. I am not a part of the gay community and don't wish to be.
So,
Never.
but you're gay.
No, I'm a homosexual.
Have you not benefited from
True that.
Mark?
What's that?
Have you
I
not
can
benefited
understand
from
that
these
shit. Yeah, I understand that shit.
I can't hear you when someone else is talking, Punto.
Go ahead, Sip. I was
No,
going to say,
sorry,
Mark,
I just said,
oh,
I don't know.
the lag is getting us. Okay, Mark, have you not benefited from the gay movement?
No.
No. Yeah.
How have I benefited from the gay movement? I mean, I have no desire to marry a dude. I don't.
Have you been
I don't get
discriminated
it.
against?
Did what?
Have you been discriminated against in
Of
any way?
course I have.
Now the discrimination is much less than, say, 20 years ago?
I don't know. I don't go running into like restaurants and shit screaming, "I'm queer."
Go get a gay cake.
Yeah, I just wanted to know where was the discrimination coming from?
Oh, God, Sid. If you admitted it in public, it could be an ass beating.
No, you don't have... You see, the thing is that...
At one time, it was...
Don't walk around admitting in public that you're gay or straight or this or that. Nobody does that. But if you go for trouble and start spouting off something that is going to trigger an argument, then you're going to get one.
I was walking down the street the other day, just taking a walk around the neighborhood. I had my gym clothes on and everything. Nothing would scream that I'm gay, and some kids called me a faggot. I mean,
good job. You have a reputation, you know.
It's like, no, these kids don't know me. I mean,
well, then you must have been walking like with a swish.
I don't walk with a swish.
So what was it then?
Maybe because your gym clothes were pink.
Maybe. Oh God, I would never wear pink.
Mark, did you know that there's some
let's not just
homos that would be celebration? Go ahead, Sid.
It could have been something their parents said. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
We could keep on presuming on whatever you did, but the question is, what do you think? I mean, you were the one dressed away, walking away, or not, and what do you think was the thing that triggered them, or made them say that? Why do you think
Jesus Christ
they did that?
It could have been something their parents said. Maybe they said, "Oh, that's a faggot from around the corner" or something. I have no idea. But
but
yeah, I mean.
So, what's the difference between a faggot and a homosexual and someone who's gay?
Okay, you want me to explain that or Mark? Which one? I'll explain it. Okay, being called a faggot by somebody who is non-gay, a straight person, is a pejorative. Okay, but within the community, yeah, you can call yourself a faggot. Up and down. I don't see there's any problem with that. As far as Mark's distinction between gay and homosexual, that's very unique for him, but I'm sure he's not alone in that. A lot of homosexuals want to separate themselves from, they just want to be normal Joe Lunchbucket homos, right, Mark? There's no distinction, no political movement behind one sexuality, which I agree with. I see as sensible, a very sensible position. But my experience, Mark, has been that, we have to have these political movements in order to get, things better, more progressive within, society in a whole, as far as our, particular minority status.
Unfortunately, the only thing that the media listens to are the freaks, and that's fine. If I can benefit from that without having to do the work, I'm not going to cry.
Okay, the freaks are the ones that cross gender lines in your mind.
No, the freaks are the ones that have these parades called gay pride and run around in assless chaps and feather boas and dykes on lakes and all those people that do not represent me. That is not what I am about. I don't appreciate
it. Okay, Mark, why do you think that they do that, out of curiosity?
Because it's their culture.
Well, it's sort of like standing on a mountaintop and yelling out, hey, I'm here, accept me. Right?
Sure.
But I mean, that's why there are pride parades, because it's like a celebration. It's sort of like a statement.
Well, that's just dandy. I don't...
Okay, the reason that there has to be a statement, Mark, is because, believe it or not, we are an oppressed minority. I mean,
sure.
People put it to, LGBT historically.
So. All right, then. If there's some way for me to fight for that behind the scenes, I'd be more than happy to do that.
I just have a comment.
Okay, Cyprian, why don't you say what you got to say? Hey,
I
Gary.
just have a comment on what Bantu said about what was it, gay, homosexual, and a faggot. I think he probably too old.
Hey, Frank.
But faggot nowadays, I'm hoping that I'm right. As far as I understand it, faggot nowadays, as Louis C.K. so rightly put it, has nothing to do with sexuality. A faggot is just a person that acts like an ass.
It's a cigarette.
Nowadays, it's just I could call my brother a faggot for just doing the wrong things or saying some shit, some bullshit. So what I'm saying is nowadays, most recently, calling somebody a faggot has nothing to do with their sexuality whatsoever.
Right.
It had something to do in the past, and it's still going on.
It still,
But
it
most
still
recently, I
has
think.
the same connotation.
Absolutely.
It's our word. I don't want
No,
I wanted to jump
Not in
off
every,
the
I'm
not in
bridge.
every
thinking,
case, not in every sense, but absolutely.
of course, there's still
You know,
assholes
absolutely, it's
used
a
in a
pejorative.
pejorative way.
Oh, that's gay. Oh, that's gay. Oh, that's gay. It's the same fucking thing.
Yeah, what do you want us to say?
No.
Hey, it's homosexual. Hey, that's homosexual.
I mean, I
Right,
prefer that people not use it.
Of course, that would be a better world. Of course, but all I'm saying is
Okay.
people, at least people around me, when they use that term on me, or I use it on him, they use it on another person, has nothing to do with sexual orientation.
Really?
It's just
Wow.
calling somebody a faggot is like you be so faggoty, like you're acting like an ass. That's what
Wow.
I find
all
that
it
difficult to
means.
believe.
That's Romania, Mark. Okay, Mark,
It's
have you
not
ever
really
seen?
Romanian. Look at Louis C.K. Look at Louis C.K. explaining that shit. And he at one point said, I have no problem with gay people doing those things, but if I come across a guy sucking some other guy over, and then he takes the dick out of his mouth and says, people from Phoenix are Phoenicians, I'm gonna say, dude, quit being a faggot and suck that dick. That's what Louis C.K.
Oh
did,
my God.
comedian.
I guess he's
So
popular.
he has no. What he's trying to underline is that he has no issues with gay people doing stuff, but for God's sake, stop being a faggot and doing faggot things like calling people from Phoenix Phoenicians,
Well,
some bullshit stuff. That's being a faggot.
so if I
Has
called
nothing to do
somebody
with
who I
sexuality.
knew wasn't gay a faggot, I'd feel kind of like weird. Wouldn't you, Mark?
Yeah, especially with that ice pack on your face.
I know. Mark,
I understand
Mark,
that, dude.
Mark, when you're
I
at a
understand
party
that.
and somebody says, "Oh, are you gay?" and then you say, "No, I'm a homosexual," do you have a feeling of elitism there? Like the other people?
Yeah, absolutely.
That you're too good to be gay?
No, it's not that. It's just that I'm proud not to be gay.
Oh God, Mark. Here's my friend Mark. Takes no gay.
If I might, just
Go ahead, Sid.
remember that time, like the 50s or the 40s, when people used to use the word gay with a completely different meaning
No, I
than
don't remember.
homosexuality.
The Walt Disney
Like
gay.
for example, being gay, frolicking, and Enola Gay, it didn't have back in the day that homosexual thing. It was just a word, but over time it switched to homosexuality. But it
Man,
completely changed.
in the
Now I'm
60s or
thinking
the 70s.
faggot just goes as the word switches back from homosexuality nowadays. It switches back to meaning what I just said. Being
Well,
just
faggot
being
is
an
actually
asshole.
the twigs that they used to use to burn witches. Isn't that what faggot is?
Fag's a cigarette.
Yeah,
Give me a fag.
in England.
Take
Yeah,
I'll take one.
In
I'll
England,
take
yeah.
in
one.
England. Fancy a fag?
Hi, kitty.
Hey, Keela.
Hey.
Right.
Okay, so Mark, you're my date, and we go to a party, you know, this gay party that I finally get invited to.
Oh, girl, stop
So
fantasizing.
then I said, here's my new friend Mark, and then he says, no, Bunto, I'm a homosexual. Don't you think I'd die of embarrassment?
Well, I mean, why would, for someone, first of all, to come up and say, are you gay, would be kind of odd, I think.
Yeah, those kids
Yeah.
If they did, I mean, don't get me wrong, out of necessity, I've used the term gay to describe myself, and sometimes by accident because it's so prevalent. It's kind of difficult to, you know, I mean, I wouldn't say it's snooty. Well, actually, well, I'm here with this hoe. You know, that's what I would say.
Right. My rent boy.
Yeah.
I just want.
Wouldn't start singing happy. Happy.
Boy.
This freaking elitism that Mark displays. It's like, oh, please, Mark.
It's not elitism. I'm not one of those
Mark.
people.
I like the symbol.
Mark, can I ask you a question, Mark?
What?
You were talking about when within a social situation somebody asks you if you're gay. My question is, do you feel like it's half bad, half good that maybe the person asking you has a bad agenda, like try to put you down for being gay, but on the other hand, you just might be a fellow homosexual trying to reach out and maybe make a connection. So my question is, so do you get like within between that you don't know how to answer? Is he trying to fuck with me, or
No,
is he trying to fuck me?
If it's easier for me to say yeah, just answer yeah, then I'll do that. And I would certainly hope that if that person is interesting or worth talking to, that the conversation would progress and I would be able to explain myself at a future time. I don't go, saying, no, I'm a homosexual and this is why I can't stand gay people. And
oh, no.
I mean, I would never do that.
No, but the thing, but the first second after a person that you don't know is a homosexual or heterosexual, like I'm talking about a dude asking you, are you gay? Do you pause for a second and trying to figure out if he's also gay, trying to connect with you, or is he heterosexual trying to fuck with you?
No.
Is it always obvious?
I don't really think about it. I mean, I don't.
All right, so let's say, for example, you don't know me, and I walk up to you in a party situation, like there's 100 people in a house,
Bear.
and I'm coming up to you and asking you, Mark, are you gay?
Oh, and I didn't know you. In that case, it would be, what does that matter to you?
Yeah. Why do you ask?
Pause and think, am I asking you because I'm gonna want to make fun of you, or I want to connect with you?
Well, you can answer that when I ask.
Not pause?
No, I would say, why do you ask?
Mm-hmm.
And then you would have the opportunity to, say whether or not you want to jump my bones.
But I think it's like, do you want to blow that moment, Mark?
Bunto?
You can answer a question with a question, right? You could always do that.
Right. But Bunto, how would you act?
If you came up to me in a party, I didn't know you, and you asked me if I was gay. First off,
depends on the way I would connect, right? Maybe.
I would blush, yeah. I would be like, okay, so if finally somebody can pick me out as LGBT, so I'd be like, oh, right.
Maybe not. Maybe I'm just trying to be an ass.
Exactly. You kick him in the nuts. That's what I would do first thing. Kick him in the nuts and then ask, why do you want to know?
Yeah, how could you tell? I'd be interested to know how he could tell. Maybe because
that's exactly my question. Exactly my question. How would you know how to react in that situation?
But I wouldn't be afraid.
Is it just?
I wouldn't be afraid. Like Mark would probably be afraid. I would not be afraid.
Mark would be afraid?
Yeah, somebody came up to you and say, "Are you gay?" And
people have called me faggots and malls, and I have chased their asses down. What are you talking about?
Mark, you know,
Wouldn't
Mark.
you would read the body language. They would probably read the body language and look for subtle signals from the person. And a reasonable person would ask, "Why do you ask?" Though, like.
Right, there are many types of gays. You would be surprised about, some guy could come up and look like he's going to kick my ass and ask me if I'm a faggot. And guess what? He's reaching out.
Yeah. Also, well, I told you before, I went to a place called The Dungeon, and it was a leather bar, and this guy was, like, really buff and hot and, like, masculine, and I went up to him, and I even lowered my voice, and I was like, "Yo, what's up?" He's like, "Oh, hi, how you doing?" And I was like, "What? What?"
That's nice.
They call them muscle Marys, Kitty.
They call it what?
Muscle what?
Muscle Marys.
Muscle Marys.
Yeah, they're all muscular and in there. "Hi, girl."
And I would probably be in love because, I'm the kind of girl that fell in love with a guy wearing makeup and a Daisy Duke cutoffs and a tied-up t-shirt. And I knew he was bi, but I was like, I couldn't help myself. I was like, I heard his voice, and I'm like, oh, he's beautiful. I gotta let my kitty out of the bathroom here. I got one that I sequestered. I'll be right back.
I don't know. I appreciate somebody, approaching me and asking me. I'd appreciate the honesty. I probably could detect if they want damage.
I don't think any of you got the sub, the subtext or the situation got right. Quite right, because for example, you're sitting against the wall, you just being yourself. Somebody comes out and just puts his back against the wall. He's not looking into your eyes. He might be timid. He might be timid. Could be also straight or gay. He's not looking you in the eye. He's just asking. Looking the other way, or being just by your side. You gay. I mean, you couldn't really infer if he is also gay or not.
Oh,
I mean, are we in a Are we in a bathhouse when this happens, or are we? Yeah, I mean.
No, just like I said, a party of 100 or so people.
A heterosexual party?
Sure.
An all types of sexualities party.
Okay.
I would hope you're not biased on parties.
A pansexual party.
There you go.
No, but for reals, just like a party of people.
It's great.
Of all sorts of whatever you don't know.
Right, was obviously a gay guy coming up to another dude.
Could be. Could be. But would you presume that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
All right.
Some timid guy.
That pretty much answers my questions.
And if they were trying to pick me up, the second question would be the obvious one: is how big is your dick? I mean.
I say, what are you?
That's straight to the chase, right?
There goes my next questions. My next question is one. With women on all media, movies, porn, and shit, we have this idea, which might be wrong or right. I know that bitches be looking for inches. Let's just say that. Is it the same? No. I mean, do gay people look for inches? Do they care about it?
Not in my case.
Some bit, but mostly not. How is it?
It's different. I've never met a gay man who was looking for somebody with a gay dick, with a small dick. I don't. I'm a size queen.
So it is about size.
For me, it is.
Why?
What is small? What's small?
To me, small is anything under 7.
God.
Average is like 5 1/4. I read somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you need such a big dick?
Well, I mean, this is because it feels better for me.
In your hand?
Sid.
Why is this funny?
I would assume any.
Why is this funny all of a sudden? I mean,
there are two.
We've been having this conversation about homosexuality for a while, and all of a sudden, shit be funny, like we're in school. Kids.
Then I'll be 100% honest. There are two different. How do you pronounce it? Sphincter muscles. within the rectum.
The mechanic.
If you do not get past that second one, I'm sorry, it's like poke, 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 ouch, ouch, ouch. It just, and there's also the prostate. You want to be able to, hit the prostate, and that's my personal. What did I say?
You don't want to be able to do that.
The thing is that, you're looking for Mr. Goodbar, Mark. The thing is that they have devices that can help you out sexually, but what you're looking for is somebody to prove themselves worthwhile, as far as
without devices.
Well, I'm not looking for any of them, but...
Because everybody is always going to claim to have a big weenie, and, it may be or maybe not. The thing is, what you want to know is if they have guts, if they have any courage, if they have any, toughness to them.
Oh, are you talking relationship?
Well, not even relationship. I mean, I meet a guy in a party, and the guy's interested in me, right? Instead of going up to them that night, right? It's like, forget that, dude. The thing is, he has to prove himself, man. I like giving him my number if he calls me. Then he's interested. The thing is that
okay, well,
I went through people like potato chips at one point in my life, and it got me nowhere, Mark. So, I mean, that's one of the big failings of hookups, in my mind.
Well, that's why I've been abstinent for so long, because I agree with you. I was asked a question, and I can only go by my past experience. What would happen right now? Probably the same thing. There would be, size and looks.
Now, one thing, Kitty. Let's suppose I meet a guy at, like, the gym or something, and that guy fucking insists on having sex with me right then and there. I can detect it. Then maybe I'll be a little bit more, pliable that way. It's like, okay, guy, maybe I better cap this guy first, and then we can build something. But I'd have to be, somebody who's at least, in my eyes, worthwhile, not like some sort of, I don't know, loser.
Well, I'm not going to go with a loser just because he has a donkey dick. I mean, it's like, there's got to be more to it than that, but size is definitely very important to me.
The guy can get an extension, Mark.
But
if the dog maker can get an extension, the guy can get an extension.
How are you going to
have the first time? This is the first time in a heterosexual's life when you got confirmation that does or does not matter, as it being a discussion about women. Women talk about it, saying some women say, yeah, it's all about the size. Some women say it's all about the motion of the ocean and all that shit. But this thing right here is sort of a confirmation that size is indeed,
right.
It does matter. Right?
How about for
women be tricky and hiding that shit. It's not about
women to have a cervix. You can only go so far with a woman.
Exactly, and if it's too big, then it could be extremely painful. Because I've seen people and been like, holy shit, what are you gonna do with that? Poke somebody's freaking tonsils out. There's nowhere for that to go. And
that would hurt a woman, whereas a man doesn't have that stop.
Every woman's different.
Right. Exactly.
I've seen some studies that were done on size, and the shorter women tend to like shorter ones, and taller women tend to like taller ones, and because the depth for a taller woman, to reach the optimal spot. And there's too big for even the tallest women who like the biggest ones. There's too big for them. They'll even say that, at this point it's too big.
And what kind do you like?
Oh, I like all of them. Yeah.
So I've been holding in this question.
No.
I've been holding in this question for a while.
There's also some women are pleased more by the inside. Some women are pleased more by the outside, by the the front end of it, and some like a combination of both, and it depends on the person.
I agree. Yep.
Cyprian, you had a question?
Yes, I have a question. I've been holding it in, not that side in, but I've been holding it because might seem
it's called being in the closet.
Right. My question is there a difference? I think there is, but you know, between women and men, in the sense that vaginas are different. They tend to, even after giving birth to a child, they still go to a lower girth, let's say, or size, and might they come back to a size. But do rectums just grow in size? I know it's a fucked up question. I'm just
No. It's a good question, and
you know what I mean?
Not all. No, I've never had a problem.
Not trying to be an asshole. Just.
I don't. I'm not ruined, and I've been at this for 53 years. Well, not really 53 years, because that would be creepy. But a long time, and I'm okay. Yeah, I think it just there's muscles involved.
Okay, you're asking about.
But I've seen so much.
I don't know, man.
porn in my
I just
life.
feel pain when I listen to this.
I'm talking mostly about prolapse asses.
Prolapse can happen.
Because I've seen a lot of porn with bitches, with women doing the anal with larger and larger and larger, growing larger to like horse-sized dicks, and I'm thinking their asses can't feel much.
If you overdo anything, it's gonna blow it out.
Right. So
they probably take muscle relaxants or something.
Do vaginas fall back to a certain tightness,
dude?
As compared to
old porn stars when they burn out their beaver, they go anal, dude. I mean, they gotta make a living.
When they burn out their beaver.
They burn out the beaver,
Look at my trying to be, beaver, right?
But you're getting all into the mechanics and shit, and I mean that's a wonderful realm continent to explore.
Every hole has a price, right?
Cypriot, you do know that I'm legally married to a woman, right?
I didn't know that, but I mean, why would that be a concern of mine?
Because I'm experienced in, like I said, you said vaginas and anuses and whatever, so I do have experience with both.
Ear hole.
So you would be the go-to guy to ask these questions. You would know a lot of things. I mean, both ways.
Ask a homosexual.
I could ask a whole lot of questions.
You'd be glad to answer them.
Oh my God, am I a homosexual? Shit.
I think you're a bisexual.
No, I definitely am not.
I don't believe in that.
I'm not attracted to women. I'm not attracted to women. I did it because I didn't want to be gay anymore, and I accepted Jesus at that time and the whole 9 yards.
Oh, big mistake.
I don't think that's true.
My wife knew that I was gay, and we did have the same boyfriend, so it kind of,
Because, that's a misnomer saying attractiveness.
But she is...
Your wife
is she
knew you were
feeling
gay,
sad
and you
about
both
that?
had the same boyfriend.
Right.
Yeah.
So my question is, how's that thing working out for her? How's that thing working out for her nowadays? I mean, she tried it. Is it still working in your relationship?
Oh no, I haven't. I was only with her for 4 years, and we got married in 1983.
Got separated?
Right now, she's dying of cancer, but I don't. And she lives in Florida. I haven't seen her in a long time.
Okay, you claim not to be attracted to women, females at all, Mark?
No.
Pride though.
Attractive in any sense to females?
No.
Then you're not a human being, dude. I mean, all Homo sapiens are attracted to the opposite sex. I believe.
Okay, can we sort of change the subject a little bit?
Israel?
Can I have just one last question to Banto?
Sure.
Okay.
I think he's right in the sense that, I had girlfriends and whatnot, but these girls that are heterosexual and only into males, they're still looking up other women, tits and ass and whatnot, So even though they're heterosexual, they're only looking for dick and whatnot, they're still looking for tits. Kill, am I right?
Well, in what respect?
Have you ever turned your head and look at some other girls' ass or tits
Well,
as a woman.
Yeah, I look at them, but I don't want to fuck
You
them.
just,
I mean, I look at
but
them, I admire them, and I think, oh wow, I wish I looked like that. You know,
that's one thing.
That's
Absolutely right.
attractive.
Oh, okay.
So.
All right. So I'm thinking homosexual males will still do that as well.
Yes, they do still do that. Okay, what happens,
Right.
Sip, is that you're conditioned in a society to like the other sex. Conditioned. Okay?
I'm
But that
not
might be your
conditioned.
natural preference to be with opposite sex.
But Sid, where did you want to go?
I'm sorry. What?
Sid wanted to go.
Oh, yeah. What I wanted to do was, I wanted to ask a fairly serious question. Across the whole spectrum of straight, lesbian, gay, blah blah blah, whatever, does polyamory fit into each section of humanity the same way? Is polyamory only a heterosexual concept?
It's only an Islamic
polyamory?
No.
No, that's polygamy.
Wives.
Hey, Jeff. No, we're talking about polyamory, not polygamy.
There's a difference?
Yeah, loving many partners, not necessarily doesn't depend on their gender.
Well, they love all their wives, don't they?
Yeah, but I mean, this could be a group of men and a group of women. It could be any number of any
Any mixture.
Yeah, any mixture.
The third, the guy that was involved with my wife and I, we both loved him. He loved us, and it was great.
That's pretty polyamorous, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, look, man. We're all monolovers, aren't we?
We're all what?
There are any polylovers here.
We're all what?
You're a monolover,
Polylover.
Sid, or you're a polylover?
I'm poly-friendly.
Polycurious.
Polycurious. There you go. There you go. I have a friend that told me he thinks I am, but I've been serial monogamy sort of with crossovers.
Wow, serial monogamy.
I'm open-minded. What can I say? I fall in love.
Okay, Jeff's here in the room. Okay, Jeff, you a polylover?
Yeah, I like lots of people. Love lots of people. So, sure.
There you go.
Oh, that's a Hillary Clinton answer.
It's a good answer.
Which is better, Jeff, polylove or monolove?
I guess the more the merrier.
No, I guess it's each to each.
I'm going to be a
his own,
libertarian.
I think.
It's whatever somebody is comfortable with. So if you like to be with multiple partners and you're with consenting people who like the same thing, then that's better. But if you're more comfortable with one person, then that's better for you.
I want to love everyone.
You're afraid to admit how much weaker polylove is compared to monolove. I mean, why hasn't monolove caught fire here in the Western civilization? I mean, the people living back in the 12th century, the Islams, they keep polylove, but we've sort of like progressed past that.
I think
I don't know if it's progress or not, but I think it's up to the individual, and I don't think they should be bound by superstition. If they're inclined to prefer polylove, then I think that's fine. It's up to the individual, and I'm not really prepared to say which is better or worse.
In a libertarian society, it's okay for the person to go for the weaker concepts than the stronger.
What does that mean? The weak.
Polylove is obviously weaker than monolove.
Polylove is weaker? How do you mean?
It dilutes the relationship. Whenever you spread your love amongst multiple partners, it gets diluted.
No, I have to disagree with you.
Libertarianism would not say anything about that, or whether it's weaker or stronger, or whether it's preferable or not. But libertarianism just says that consenting people can have whatever kind of relationships they want, and
including the weak one.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's it's about exploring. As long as it's consensual, maybe it doesn't end up being the best for those people or for the majority of people, but libertarianism doesn't say that this is the best color, that red is the best color, that blue is the best color. It just says that you should be free to make choices that are peaceful without.
Not so much that we know what the best
choices is,
but we know what the best sort of relationship is, Jeff, and that's monolove.
No.
It depends. I think it depends on the person. I think it depends on the
person. No. Yeah.
I
don't know. Libertarianism does not take a position on what's the best color, what's the best car to buy, what's all this. Libertarianism is about when you can use force or not. Otherwise, it's up to people to decide to figure out for themselves what is the best marital situation or household situation. That's not a libertarian question, except to the extent that that people should be allowed to make those decisions peacefully and explore for themselves and through trial and error figure out what is best.
I'll be right back. You know, being a homosexual male and not a gay, I'm going to go do my superiority dance, and I'll be right back.
The restroom. Okay, we can all agree that the preponderance of relationships in the Western civilization are monogamous, right?
Mostly. Let's say they mostly are, because so many people are cheating, right?
Well, this is it. That's why I think they're not mostly monogamous.
That seems to be by law. It seems to be it's predominant, but whether that's the best household situation for everybody, that remains to be proven. And laws don't prove anything. There were laws that sanctioned slavery. That's
in the experience that we do have with polylove here in the Western civilization, amongst the Mormons and so other cults, aren't there, isn't child abuse endemic within those, cults? Daddy wants to get with daughter.
Child abuse is a separate matter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The Mormons.
So if somebody's in there's child abuse in heterosexual monogamous relationships too. There's child abuse. That's a separate.
But it's not as endemic as it is in the polylovers.
Oh, there's probably more child abuse in heterosexual relationships because there's more heterosexual monogamous relationships than polyamorous. So I don't know. So that's an interesting.
More endemic within the polylovers.
How do you know that?
Because when we study cults, the Mormons and so forth, the fundamentalist Mormons, the Warren Jeffs, they're always getting into the kids, marrying the 13-year-old, so forth. Even in, we look at Islam, my God, their tribal marriages.
9 years old.
So when you get into polylove, you're getting into child abuse.
Not everybody. Not everybody is. I have friends who are polyamorous and they're in committed relationships. It's kind of like a group relationship where in one situation there's there's a woman who's dominant, and my friend and the woman's husband are in a relationship, and then he had another girlfriend for a while. There are no children involved in that relationship. In another relationship, my friend is living with his current wife and his first wife, and he helped raise his current wife's children before they married. They didn't marry until late in life, and the three of them live together, and they seem to be happy, and nobody's screwing a kid. So, at least to my knowledge, the kids were raised fairly normally. They married off. They're grown now, and
even if you could prove a stronger correlation between polyamorous people and whatever kind of child abuse you might want to cite, that doesn't mean that it's the polyamory that's the cause anymore. More than a group, those kinds of abuses were more prevalent than another. We wouldn't accept that as a reason to prohibit those kind of interracial marriages.
Okay, so it's not a deal breaker for you, right, Jeff?
No, it's not. No, absolutely. So a crime is a crime, and it doesn't. Yeah, statistically, crimes will occur more in some groups than others, and it's not about correlation is not causation. And even if it were, the crime itself would have to be addressed in a just society, not the whatever arrangements or other superficial concerns happen to correlate with that.
Fair enough. Okay. There's a saying that says having your cake and eating it too, right? Polylove is a very idyllic type philosophy, saying, you know, you can have multiple partners and share love with them equally. But we know human nature is when something goes wrong or south, that the person gets dumped on the other partner, and then, you know, gets dumped on husband number 3, and the problem gets dumped on husband number 4, till, you know. With the mono relationship, you have just one husband, which has to take responsibility for the wife, and vice versa. You know, but mono love, you get a lot of, you know.
Well, that's because of the Western bias towards the towards the monogamous or the the monogamous relationship. But you should be able to, if you want to have a poly kind of a family, there could be contracts and templates for that would protect people against legal shortfalls and what happens when it falls apart. Just like any other business venture, that would be the legitimate role of the state, if there is one, would be to just to provide a means by which.
So it's not so much, you know, matrimonial honor. It's more of the state getting, you know, its nose into your business to make sure, you know, the relationship.
Well, marriage is a church thing. Yeah, marriage is totally a church thing. So the reason why it's when we talk about marriage, that's why, you know, as a libertarian, I was not really for gay marriage, quote unquote, because I don't think the state should have anything to do with marriage. That's a church thing, or it's a customary thing, or it's a maybe maybe it could be a secular thing too. But no, it's a contractual arrangement, and people should be allowed to have whatever kind of households they want with consent.
You know, if they want to marry a dog, or if they want to be a pedophile, it's a-okay with you in the libertarian society, right?
I didn't say that. I said consenting adults.
You know, it's a contract.
It is a contract, but no. A child
consensual
wait a minute.
is key.
Consensual, yes. Consensual is key.
And children are obviously not able to consent. That's why they can't do. They're not bound by car loans, or, you know, you can't sell a house to a 6-year-old. So it's a different. It's not the same issue.
You can't will your estate to the kitty cat. All right. So we're, you know, coming up to the, you know, point of view that we should, Kath, that we should, you know, give poly love a chance, right? What do you think, Catherine? Would you be a poly lover if you could, you know, get away with it? How about you, Sid?
Somebody left.
Yeah, Trey.
If I may, you're changing the subject a little bit, because whether or not somebody should try it, or whether this is something we should all test out, is not the same thing as whether it should be legally permissible. And I would say it should be legally permissible.
Yes.
Legally permissible, or anything like that. It doesn't mean I think, oh, we should all try that out. No, I don't think anything that's legally permissible should be tried out.
What would be the benefits of going polylove here in America?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think it's a victimless.
You think divorce would be
so it should be allowed. I don't have an opinion. I don't particularly want to do that myself.
Freedom would be the benefit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How about property rights? You know, somebody wants to divorce me, or somebody wants their part of my, you know, house, but the other wife doesn't want to give it up. I mean, does it become a sticky
contractual matter?
Property rights.
It's a contractual matter. Hopefully you should set up something in advance that what happens if this situation dissolves? How do we handle disputes and all of that? That's what contract law is all about.
Yeah.
Because right now, you know, the wife wants to get a divorce. She takes half my stuff or all of it, right? What would you think if I had?
Well, that's not right. No, I don't think that's right. That's the current system. But no, that should your marriage should be a contract as far as the state is concerned. If a church wants to recognize it, so be it. But your household should be however you want to set it up, as long as everybody is consenting to it. And if they want there to be 4 or 5 partners or males and females, that should be that's a legal matter, and it becomes like a corporation. How do you dissolve it if and when it falls apart? Hopefully it won't. Hopefully it'll be.
In your estimation, is polylove as practical as monolove?
For some people, I would say probably so. Yes.
I mean, legally, go ahead.
I don't think everybody is one size fits all. Some people that works very well. I have friends who do that, and it's not my cup of tea. I've been married to this same person for 30 years, so it's not something I'm particularly interested in. But I don't think the world revolves around me and my interests. So I want other people to have the kind of households that they want to have, and there's no conflict as long as it's peaceful.
But not very practical. Go ahead, Kitty.
I just want to know.
What do you mean practical?
Oops.
Think about it, but go ahead, Kitty.
What state are you in where the woman automatically gets half of the man's property? Because here in Indiana, I have a friend who's female whose husband got support payments from her because she made more money, he was on disability, and he had grown accustomed to a certain type of life. I'm not kidding you. This happened.
No, it depends on the jurisdiction. In my area, the rulings of the judges are favor women usually, and men usually get really hosed in those situations. But that's because of the state laws. It's not because of a contract. If there was an explicit contract, you get this, she gets that, or how is this thing dissolved? That's how it should be approached by the state. And it shouldn't be up to the judges, and it shouldn't be the case that Indiana is more lenient than this other case. There should be objective standards whereby these things are absolved fairly and according to the to the individual circumstances.
Jeff, but one can easily see that when there's more people, there's more complications. So one can deduce that monolove is a lot more practical than poly.
It's easier to dissolve. I would say, all things being equal, it's easier to dissolve a partnership corporation than it would be to dissolve a multi-officer corporation or a larger corporation. That's true, but that doesn't mean that you can't use the same principles, and that complexity is something that negates fairness and judicial means by which to settle disputes. The more parties that are involved, yes, the more complex the contract becomes. But that's not brain surgery. You can just have there are templates for complex corporations, and they dissolve on a daily basis. Businesses dissolve in in the same way that proprietorships or smaller corporations dissolve. So that's nothing new.
A marriage is a corporate enterprise, right, Jeff?
Did I say that?
Sounds like it.
No, it's an agreement between parties. It doesn't matter how many parties there are. Yeah.
So you can't see, if you're gonna do in Rome as a Roman zoo, if you go over to Iran to live there, you'd go ahead and indulge in polyamory. You wouldn't carry the Western tradition with you over to Iran of just being a monolover.
Well, I don't think Iran's laws are just or enlightened. What I would do as a practical matter, no, I wouldn't go to Iran or Saudi Arabia personally. I think that would be suicide to do those things, but that doesn't mean I don't think those things shouldn't be permissible. Or that their laws are just. I just think that people should be able to have whatever kind of household they want.
You get a lot of money to go live in Iran or Saudi Arabia. You pick up a couple extra wives, right? Because you can get away with it.
How did Iran get into the conversation?
Because they have this thing called Islam. We're
not talking about Islam. Islam is verboten.
I'm talking about just what just law should be. I'm not putting superstition.
But it's legal in Iran, Jeff.
I'm talking about what I said, just law. I'm not talking about current law. I don't think current law is particularly just anywhere in the world. I'm talking about what law should be, according to its original exceptions, it should be what is just for the parties involved. And what is just, in my view, and I think this is sustainable, is that what's just is what's peaceful should be permitted. And if you want to persuade people that Sharia law or Islam is the correct way, that's fine. But you don't get to use armies and police to enforce your personal preferences on others. If you want to persuade them that that's how they should live, then fine. But what I'm saying is that if anything is peaceful, it should be permitted here in Iran or anywhere else. Now, practically, would I go to Iran and and be polyamorous? No, that would be suicide. But that's, I'm not saying that somebody who would do that would be unjust. As a practical matter, that would be suicide for me to do that.
Sorry, Jeff,
and I would choose not to.
Yeah.
Jeff, go ahead.
Oh, Jeff, you just said something about the original law. Did I catch that wrong? I think you said that.
I don't believe I phrased it that way, but
I think you just said these two words, original law. But I might be wrong. In that case, let's forget.
I don't think I said that, but I don't know what. I didn't.
The law
didn't mean
should be something like the original law.
But Jeff,
I'm paraphrasing the rest of it, but forget about it. If I'm wrong,
yeah, I don't. No, that's not what I meant to say. If I did say it,
all right. That's cool.
Jeff, you would not be sanctioned in Iran for being a polylover. In fact, you'd be encouraged to be a polylover because that's what they are over there. They have multiple wives.
Right.
That's different.
I'm against the state enforcing monogamy or polyamory or anything. So that would be just as wrong.
Polygamy is not the topic. It's polyamory. And polygamy is
polyamory. Excuse me. Yes.
It's not the same thing.
Okay.
No, you're right.
What's the difference between having multiple lovers and multiple wives? Sid?
Well, the state, the church, which I don't recognize. So, I think marriage is mostly a religious thing.
Because it's
I don't.
Hold on a sec. Because polyamory. Polygamy is a man with multiple wives. Polyamory is there's no man with multiple partners, or it's a woman with multiple partners, multiple men, women with multiple. There's no set rule. With polygamy, there's a rule. It's one man with several wives.
And I would say that's mostly a church.
The polyamorous going to say, I'm sorry, you're being a polygamist, you can't join us. No, they're going to take the polygamist. So that's all polylove, Sid. You're making a difference of distinction.
So you're the expert.
It is.
I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong. Polygamy is having many wives, loving. I have many soulmates. I have been in situations like with my wife where I love my wife very much, and I also loved our male lover very much.
Fine.
But we weren't married.
Polygamy is a form of state-sanctioned polyamory that you can get away on the legal level of having multiple.
There's no connection.
Monogamous relationship.
There's no connection between polyamory and polygamy.
I think
totally different.
I think I disagree.
Topics.
Sid, I'm sorry. Respectfully, I sort of disagree. But marriage in general or polygamy implies some authority sanctioning or defining that relationship. I am not big on church authorities sanctioning relationships, or I don't see what basis they have to do that. But if your club or your church or whatever, if you want to be beholden to what they sanction, and they sanction only one partner, and you have multiple ones, then that would be, I guess, polygamy or maybe violation of that. And I don't think governments have the right to make that distinction either.
I agree that polygamy is state sanctioned, but polyamory is not.
And church sanctioned. Yeah.
Whatever.
Polyamory
is totally different. It's just consensual between people.
Right.
It's got nothing to do with the state. It's got nothing to do with licenses.
Right.
It's got nothing to do with anything other than
I agree.
agreement.
They're kind of concentric. They're probably
once
concentric
polyamory
circles.
becomes legal here in the Western civilization, it becomes polygamy, right? That simple.
No, polyamory is
No.
it's not something that's illegal.
Yeah. Polyamory has to do with
State
feelings.
sanctions. State does not sanction multiple spouses at this point.
No one's talking about getting married to anybody. Polyamorous
I mean,
relationships.
you guys are really trying to
They
fight.
could be. They're not always permanent.
What's wrong with Islam? That's what the question is here. I mean, they're polyamorous. What's wrong with them?
Marriage has always been a church phenomenon that has been codified by law. So, yeah, polyamory is not that. However, some polyamory can be polygamy if it's, in that that can be, that can be part of the. In that context, bigamy can be considered polyamory in some sense, but they aren't necessarily the same thing.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, they're different. All right. So we're all polyamorous instead of
Polyamory.
Well, where do you come to that conclusion? You
Hold
like to
on,
throw out
let Mark to give his definition.
Polyamory is about feelings.
Right.
That's it.
No, it's not. It's about
anything
getting
about
off.
marriage. Right. It doesn't say anything about marriage. You're right. I agree.
It has to do with feelings and, how you feel about another human being and whether or not you're in love with them, period.
Has everything to do with jumping in a pile, man.
Well, I mean, you have polyamory in couples that are not married.
Sure.
I mean,
Swingers. You got all sorts of...
the swinger is definitely sex. We're talking about... Polyamory is about love.
Has nothing to do with sex, right?
Amore.
It's about love with more than one specific person, or
right.
Sexuality, or whatever you want to say.
You guys are very idyllic. In a way, polyamory is about as idyllic as libertarianism. But the thing is, when you look at it closely, you can see the sort of like hard edges to it. Love dilution, child abuse, shirking of responsibility.
I don't know where you get where do you make those?
Anybody can go back and watch the hangout. I mean, I listed them out. There's endemic child abuse. There's dilution of love. There's problems with the practicality of polylove. I mean, there's a reason that monolove has risen to the preponderance of successful relationships in Western civilization.
Yeah, that's right, because they were enforced by the church.
I wouldn't say so. I mean, there's a lot of people who get out married outside the church.
At some point,
in fact, here's a good example. Marriage equality, the church does not sanction marriage equality.
At some point in early medieval history, or even before, I don't know, the church took over the marriages, which until then were simply verbal contracts just between the man and the woman, or the two families, or whatever. That was it. There was no church involvement whatsoever. The church forcefully took marriage and made it part of life.
Okay. And marriages back then, sir, weren't only about love. It was about property. Mm-hmm. It was about finances, stuff like that.
That was before the church, though.
Go ahead, Sid.
The state got him
before the church.
The state got really involved.
The church, yeah.
Actually, the state really got involved in marriage, in the U.S. at least, because they didn't want races to intermarry. So that's when blood tests became important. That's when the state got really involved in marriage. Prior to that, it was mostly a church thing, and it wasn't a big thing. In my state, as loathsomely status as it is, you can still get married in my state without a blood test, or at least last I heard, you could do that. People used to come to Maryland to get married, and that was Maryland was one of the few states that didn't require blood tests, and the blood tests were to make sure that people who were getting married were of the same race, and that's been the main involvement, the main reason for the state's involvement in marriage. Prior to that, it was mostly a church thing.
Well, thanks for the history lesson, Jeff. But wouldn't you agree that we live in a secular society now, Sid? So I mean,
well,
why are you changing the subject?
Well, no, listen, I can make a point, Jeff. Like this claim that it's the church that deems that monolove is the propriety. When we live in a secular society, we would have obviously gone polylove, if we could see any practicality in it. But no, we're still a monolove society.
No, you can't make a prediction like that, because I mean,
it's not
you don't know if you don't know that you're going to be correct.
Sid, I hope not to shock you, but the preponderance of relationships in Western civilization are monolove.
Well, then why do you need laws? If that's what everybody wants, then why do you need laws?
Very good question, Jeff. Property rights. Who deems what in case
Well, corporations there's common law that goes back centuries that can settle property rights and lead to the.
Apparently, those laws weren't good enough, Jeff, because they installed marriage licenses, marriage laws.
Well, they weren't applied. No, it wasn't that they weren't good enough. They weren't applied to marriage because it was part of the political system.
Apparently,
all right. Before you guys get into an argument or shouting match, Cyprian had his hand up.
No, I didn't.
Okay, carry on arguing.
Okay, Sid is shocked that he's discovered today that preponderance of relationships are monolove. Well, there's a reason for that, Sid. It's because they're more successful ever than polylove. Okay, we live in a secular society, an advanced scientific and technological means. The only people that are still adhering to polylove are people that are blowing themselves up and chopping off heads and stuff.
So would I be wrong?
Ask a question?
Hold on a minute. Would I be wrong to surmise that the very first civilization or societies or communities were polyamorous because they had to be in order to, because there weren't that many people, right, in the very, very beginning.
They were primitive tribes.
So it was kind of like the the cows and the bull sort of thing back in 10,000 years ago, whatever, 100,000 years ago. That would have been the only way for our species to literally have been able to multiply.
Are we still living in huts? No, we have the internet.
So, Bunto,
tell that to somebody in Babili land.
Should I raise my hand up?
Well, if you raise your hand up, you get to be speaking, yes.
All right, okay, cool. So the thing is, I'm thinking you're wrong. Just because of the things that even nowadays, everybody else can see these things. Like, for example, the males, is the males that always go on the prowl and look for the ladies and whatnot. So it's always this game of males trying to prove themselves to be like overly powerful or some shit, and the women are always turning you down. Like they're trying to prove. And I'm paraphrasing that now, but I'm talking about some psychology books that I've read, that women are trying to be these creatures that are turning you down, are always trying to prove that I'm not gonna fuck with anybody. They're trying to prove that they're celibate, so I mean, a single guy kind of woman.
Well, they wouldn't be forced into polyamorous relationships.
Right. I know what you said with that.
Right. Well, I wouldn't favor any. I mean, I wouldn't favor any system that would force women into polyamorous relationships. That would be absolutely wrong.
Right,
yeah, that's absolutely wrong. Of course, a theocracy based on Islam or based on forcing people into these kind of relationships is wrong. But what I want to ask you, Bunto, is do you favor gay marriage?
Yes.
I think I've heard you say. Now, I could have used the argument up until a couple of years ago that we've never had gay marriage, Bunto, and society has worked just great. how can you deign to change that?
You could claim that, but we could have seen there's evidence abounding that people were in same-sex relationships and were encountering problems, because the discrimination was evident. Like one of them would be sick at the hospital, and the other person who was the same sex couldn't go visit them. And then
wouldn't that be a problem in a polyamorous household?
Well, Jeff, what I'm trying to say, that goes to my point of which is more practical.
Wouldn't it be a problem in a polyamorous household?
In a polyamorous household, there would be a multiplicity of legal problems that the state probably if it wished, they could probably come up with some sort of cookie cutter pattern for a polyamorous relationship. Because look at the
we do in corporations or any kind of partnerships
Dude, I wish Green was here because our trawl, and he would explain to us like if the Islam sanctioned divorce. Do they? Anybody know? If you're Islamic, you can get divorced.
Why are we talking about Islam? We're talking about.
Well, because they're an example of the polyamorous
household.
You can get divorced in Islam. Oh yes.
Yeah, but it's not an example of Western common law. So.
But you're saying what you're trying to say is that
Western common law does is it says if you have a partnership or you have a firm that's owned by multiple people where there are shared assets, there are tried and true legal traditions that can deal with a dissolution of that date back to the 12th century. This is not brain surgery.
I agree, but what I'm trying to say is that there's more simplicity towards the monolove opposed to the polylove.
Well, I'm not talking about simplicity or anything like that, or that yes, there are emotions involved and all of that, but in a legal sense, these things should be permitted, in my view, in a free society. There's nothing about that kind of relationship that's wrong unless you bring in religion and other superstitious elements that you usually don't invoke. So I'm
mentioned
curious.
That the monolove rules have been in place since the 12th century, right? You just said that now.
No, I'm saying corporations and no, common law has been in place.
Well, common law, people
that's dealt with partnerships and complex relationships among shareholders in ventures.
Why not the same for the polylovers then? I mean, why should be any problem if it's just not indicative that it's
there shouldn't be a problem. There shouldn't be a legal problem at all. I mean, if you form a household, you buy insurance, and you would form some sort of a contract that says, I can go to you if something happens to you, I can go to your hospital room. Maybe I can make life or death decisions for you because we're a household, and this is how in our household we do things. This is about peaceful, harmonious ways of doing.
Can you not see the idyllic, sense to polylove that you're affixing to it? Like it's going to be a.
I'm saying the reason we have contracts is because of disputes. If we all got along and everything was fine, nobody would ever get divorced. No family would ever dissolve. We know that's not the case. So I'm not being idyllic at all. I'm saying we have the mechanisms to account for these non-idyllic things that happen to a lot of relationships.
Okay. Does anyone else get the sense of sort of idealism towards polylove?
I don't know if you're just trying to be a provocateur. I'm
not
endorsing
asking. I mean, that's.
Come on.
On the face of it, you can see the idealism.
I mean, really, is that what you got out of what I said? Come on. Good grief.
Forgive me, Jeff.
In spite of me being away for a few seconds and focusing on some other stuff, I would have loved to be on Banto's side, just because of the way he phrased his question. It just sounded more provocative, but.
Yes, they're very loaded questions, but I mean, maybe that's what he's trying to do. But I mean, seriously, is that what you got from what I said?
I have no opinion.
May I say one assertion, Jeff? One assertion at this point.
Beautiful.
It is not monolove the dominant relationship in Western civilization.
That is just that's a non sequitur. Yeah, it's not predominant.
Why is that not? Why is that a non sequitur, Jeff? If monolove is a predominant relationship in Western civilization for so many years since the 12th century, doesn't it show you that?
Because might doesn't make right.
It's not it's not enforced by might. It's enforced by choice,
Yes,
Jeff.
it is.
People want to be
enforced by law. You cannot have a certain polyamorous codified family arrangements because of law.
Okay, Catherine, you want to
in many jurisdictions. Well, I don't know. You sound exasperated. Was I wrong?
Well, I mean, why hasn't polylove caught on fire? I mean, we're ready to go here.
Well, I don't say it has to catch on fire, but I'm saying it should be permitted. I don't think cocaine use should be set on fire either, but I don't think people should be thrown in cages for doing that. And I think people who want to buy cocaine should be allowed to do so in the marketplace. That doesn't mean I mean, really, is this that difficult? Is this? Are you really not grasping what I'm saying?
I grasp it.
Is my mic?
Santa Claus.
Well, you say you're grasping it, but you're like, oh, you think polyamory is the best thing since sliced bread. That's what you get out of it. So I don't think you are grasping it. I mean, I think we're making progress. I think you're understanding me, and then you say, oh, well, you think polyamory's awesome. Well, I guess you're not getting it. So go ahead.
How about anybody else? Jump in.
Nope. Can you guys still hear me?
I can, yes.
No.
Sorry.
Because for a second I thought I was like invisible or some shit.
I'm sorry. I was just a little exasperated.
Just like less than a minute ago, you were saying something like a certain drug. What was it? Cocaine?
Right.
Like
Jeff thinks cocaine's A-OK.
And you said it's something like...
No, so that's where he goes. It's because I think it should be... Because I don't think people should be thrown in jail for cocaine. He thinks I think it should be right. That's what he does.
Hold on. I haven't said what you think is wrong or right.
No, he said that. He said
okay. My bad. I thought you were talking about me. And you were saying something about cocaine, saying like, is cocaine wrong? And my question would be, do you think cocaine doesn't have enough downsides that it should be somewhat fought against? Not in the sense that you have this American war against drugs and shit. I'm talking about you might be Canadian, you might be not American.
I'm American.
Overly.
I don't think it really matters, but no. To answer your question, I don't think most people should use cocaine. My point was, do I think people should be thrown in cages for using cocaine? And I say no. I'm not saying that people should use cocaine. I've never used cocaine. I never intend to. I don't think it's a good idea myself. I think, but that doesn't. But the world doesn't revolve around me. I don't think people should be put in cages for doing things that I don't.
I get it. You're right.
That's all I'm saying. Whether it's polyamory or anything else. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm with you on that.
Bunch is having a little problem following that, but thank you. I'm glad you are.
I'm having a problem following it? Okay.
That's because he's a lousy liberal.
To do cocaine motivates them to be polyamorous.
What?
Right.
It's psychology.
101.
That's the bottom line. So the question is...
So you don't use it...
I think somebody was talking.
When was the last time you actually asked yourself, could I possibly be more happy? And
I can't believe you just said that to me. Like, I'm the only person that ever interrupts.
Dude, I hold my hand up every time I want to talk.
Who's talking?
Shit? I wanted to interject one little short thing, and now you've turned it into a long fucking tirade.
Hello. What have I done?
All right, who's moderating? Who's moderating?
What's going on?
Catherine was speaking, Outbound overstepped, and I said something about it, and he got pissed.
Okay, right. Moderator.
Step back.
I interrupted, and you got pissed. You mean?
All right. Hold on. Whoa. Let's go back to Catherine.
Somebody asked me to say something, so I had a little technical difficulty, and then I finally was able to talk.
Keep going, hon.
Okay, carry on.
just saying the bottom line of everything is psychology. You know, and so it's the same thing that keeps people doing drugs and getting them thrown in jail is the same thing that keeps people feeling like they need multiple partners. That's my point of view. At least take it or leave it. But the bottom line is that you have a choice and you have a specific kind of sentiment and you have like sets of desires and impulses that you have cultivated and you feel justified in them.
So Catherine, do you think that pussy is like an entry drug?
Yeah, love is a drug.
All right, don't misuse my word. What I said is, does pussy seem like an entry drug? Because you know, cocaine and all of these shit would fuck you up. I mean, on so many levels. After a while, if you're overusing it.
Cocaine will if you do it once.
Right. But pussy, is it comparable as an entry drug? Or, I mean, cocaine is not an entry drug.
It's hard to get it prescribed by a doctor.
Who's got Bulldog blocked?
Yeah, well...
Not me. Not me.
I don't block anybody.
Bottom line is, like, they're both that we're seeking pleasure through, and as long as humankind is seeking pleasure through externals and is not able to turn that tide, the world's going to be in misery. And that's just the way it is. And it might be a dissonant misery. It might be like a snickering, like self-denying misery, but it'll still be a misery, a very delusional one at that.
Who are you talking about?
About humankind. I'm not talking about anybody in specific. It's a human problem. It's the collective unconscious.
What's that? Collective unconscious?
Collective
psyche.
Yeah, she's probably talking about you.
We all share the same qualities. You know, some of our qualities are awakened and some of them aren't.
That sounds so.
Well, that's
new age. That sounds so.
What quality specifically?
Borderline bullshit.
So, like, yeah, sure, of course. So we have, like, according to Vedic science, we have 5 layers to our psychic being, including our physical being. So 5 layers to our overall being. And one of those layers is actually called the bliss world. It's like the bliss, basically. It's our bliss. And
so this is a supernatural, spiritual type.
It just sounds like
new
age bullshit.
This is the structure. This is the structure of the fucking mind. Okay.
No, I don't think you can claim that without any evidence. I think.
But collective unconsciousness is a Carl Jungian concept.
So yeah, Vedas, that's Hinduism, right?
That's right.
This is like Vedic science I'm talking about.
Bhagavad Veda,
it's called the koshas
and stuff.
So we have 5 koshas. We all share the same quality. You know, we also have 5 sufferings, but that has nothing to do with the koshas. You know, it's like everything goes to the same root of what our issues are. All the same.
How do you know that's true? If I just may ask.
I have another question. We have 5.
Well, let her answer, please.
Basically, I've awakened. Since 2002. I've awakened to this collective unconscious, to this universal mind, and it's very intense. It's like it took me 15 years to be able to adjust to this realization.
And how did you know it was true? What was that experiment or that experience
basically
of awakening?
Bliss, like a lot of bliss, and a lot of like I can make myself feel super good if I just choose to. If I just do nothing and choose to, I feel amazing. I don't have to do shit. I don't need anybody to touch me.
Do you think that's proof of that means some things that's knowledge that you feel bliss? Do you think they're the same?
Well, that's just internal to you, right?
There's a truth there's a truth-based knowledge that all humanity can potentially tap into and unlock, so they no longer are.
How do you know that?
I call it bullshit.
How do you know that exactly? Where do you get the information?
Yeah, how do you know that?
reverse engineered my realizations through studying Vedic texts and all the sciences that I have studied, like having to do with Hinduism and Buddhism, how they
That's
actually.
Not science. That's not science, by the way.
It is actually, because science.
Listen.
Can I say one thing?
This bullshit.
Can I say one thing?
Come on, guys, one at a time.
Is theoretical. Science of is potential to be proven wrong. There's a lot of things that we think we know about psychology that's simply theoretical. It cannot be proven.
But how does your emotional state of bliss, how does that establish any kind of facts about the nature of things or the claims that you're making? Your emotional state.
Well, transcendence, when you start to realize what that actually is and how you're actually doing it, when you don't feel disgust or hatred anymore.
Again, we're talking about your emotional state. Yeah. How is your emotional state a statement about reality? How does that validate any kind of facts about the nature of reality?
That's a very valid and good question.
Whose phone is buzzing?
Oh,
yeah, whose phone is buzzing? That's really annoying.
That's not mine.
Hey, listen, can I say one thing to Catherine first before she goes on?
No, let her finish.
Welcome to the great debate community. Welcome to the great debate community, Catherine. This is what I have to put up with now for like over 3 years.
Intense, right?
No, and I'm happy to have her here. I'm not trying to, but it is a debate community, so I would like to know how her emotional state can become the basis of these kind of claims about reality that are pretty audacious claims about our nature and about our destiny and stuff like this. So how do your feelings account for that? How can we make that connection?
So yeah, I think it's very personal and very potentially that I'm a very delusional person to be imposing my own emotional state onto you as the basis of reality.
Right.
And I believe that is completely valid. The thing is,
it's a valid claim about your emotional state, but how does it relate to reality?
Right. So the reality that we experience is flavored by our emotional experience of it until we're able to that way that it works.
Are you guys familiar with double talk?
Double talk,
yeah, I am.
I think you're doing a lot of that. Yeah, I think she's doing a lot of that. I mean, if I were the one to put a dot on my forehead, would that mean more to you on a?
Fair.
What does the dot have to do with the manner in which I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
It's a nice dot.
Would that mean that I'm more in touch with Buddha and all that shit? Is because I have a thing on my forehead? Because it seems to me like that's all you got. No
That's
proof.
great.
You said something about truth. You used the word truth in a sentence.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with truth or whatsoever. You're just using the word truth.
Oh no, the word truth is
Like,
very
you know,
powerful. It's a very powerful. Well, the word's not powerful. What's powerful about it is that it is fact.
It is powerful. It is powerful.
Everything
But it's meaningless
is true.
if you don't have it.
That's the most wonderful thing about the truth is everything is true, and so when you step outside of the truth, even 1%, that makes you 1% delusional. So every time, every time every time that we go outside of factual reality.
Are you admitting to be delusional?
Yeah, I think she's delusional, and she's using the word truth.
Well, I'm wondering if she's admitting that she herself is delusional.
I could be. You know what?
Never.
Because, we're all prone to delusion. This is the nature of the world we live in. This is why.
No, but specifically your specific delusion, Catherine. Explain it to us.
My specific delusion?
Yes.
Welcome to it, honey.
Is that I make.
She's happy. That's a delusion.
I make assumptions.
That's true.
Let us finish.
You know, and you know, I don't always go off of factual like knowledge, and sometimes I believe something I've heard other people say could be true. Things that I've heard, information that I have heard repeated, I believe to be truth. Therefore, in this way, I am delusional.
So hold on a second, if I can just have a follow-up. To my understanding, in the Eastern religions, there's a lot of repetition of, you know, to get yourself into the right frame of mind, I guess,
Yes,
right?
yes. Mantra.
Right, there's a lot of that.
So
just because it's being repeated over and over and over again makes it true?
It helps you to get to a beautifully neutral, most natural state of mind, which helps you to find where that truth
and also,
is.
I'm sorry. And also, why not use your mantra? It's so powerful.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So why not use it?
Simply vibration.
In a bullshitty kind of way, just use words like truth, like you said before.
Why
completely
do you have
meaningless.
This, you have a very
Mantra,
specific attitude
meaningless.
toward the truth.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to, you know, fight with women and be that asshole that has become the reason to fight against men and be all feminine and shit in that fucked up kind of way. But still, you're close to 100, if not 100%. You're close to 100% bullshit.
That's interesting.
Mantra,
From my point of view, I wouldn't want to eat the things you eat, for one thing. I mean, if you think I'm 100% bullshit, you are what you eat. And I imagine that
I only eat pussy.
Garbage.
I only eat pussy. I'm on a diet right now.
He has a strict pussy-only diet.
So he is what he eats.
Oh man, he must be getting some nasty pussy.
That's the kind he prefers. If it's not nasty, he doesn't touch it.
I love it.
I'm totally serious. No, I'm not. Yeah, I am. No, I'm not. It's for everybody to have their own opinions on it.
He wants that lumpy feel as it goes down his throat.
Oh, sick, man.
Yeah, like cold oatmeal.
You ever fucked a pussy on our period? I did.
Oh, gross. Anyway, I wanted to say one thing to Sid. Okay, Sid.
Yes.
Did you know that Hinduism has been around longer than Judaism?
Yes.
Therefore, it's probably better.
Yes, I know.
Yes. Yes.
Why? Hold on, Sidney. What the fuck is wrong with you, Sidney? Why?
It's been around longer than Judaism. I said yes, it has been.
All right, you did say that, and I agree
with
that.
But it has been. It's a fact.
But then again, he said, so would you attribute any more value to in so many words? And
no, he asked me one question,
Why
and I gave him one answer. He asked me one question, I gave him an answer to that question. One answer.
He asked you two questions.
He asked me one question.
One, which we both agreed. And the second one was, would you give any more...
He said, do you agree that Hinduism is older than Judaism? And I said, yes.
Of course. That was I know that. But Banto, you asked another question, and Sidney said yes as well.
Anyway, I just wanted to say that, okay, people are coming down...
No, hold on a minute, Banto. I think I know what he's getting at. Banto made a statement of something. You know, like Banto makes his a statement of things that are a little bit out there. That was one of those. And I was ignoring that.
Okay, listen, everybody's like taking it, dogpiling on poor Catherine because she's, you know, coming out with a alternative worldview, let's say, okay?
White knighting?
You are.
Okay, but listen, she mentioned collective unconsciousness, and that there's a proven.
What does that actually mean? It's nothing.
That we can even
No, that's a term that Carl Jung. If Frank was in here, he'd rise to Catherine's defense too, because.
Well, it is nothing. There's no collective unconsciousness other than.
Let's get Frank here and ask it.
Okay, how about the ignorance that a lot of people have in common?
It's called Homo sapiens.
That's true.
Like a lot of the non-accountability, people who are not accountable for themselves, and they are being childish and not accountable, not honest. See, this is where truth comes in, and this is why even in Catholicism it's become popular that people confess, and also in psychology it's important to have somebody that you can pay to confidentially listen to you talk about how you feel fucked up. Because we can't talk that way in society to most people. We can't tell people like the things that we are feeling that are not correct or not happy or feeling good or comfortable. Because if we make other people uncomfortable by telling them the things that are going on inside of our head, it's a problem.
Okay, how about this, Sid? Sid, haven't historically the Hindu societies been more peaceful than any of the Abrahamics? I believe so.
Well, until the Abrahamics came along, yes. But when the Muslims and the Hindus clashed, there was blood and death and swords and heads flying and all sorts of things. And it continues till today. Hindus kill Muslims.
Even though
in large numbers, in certain periods, at certain times.
Even though I'm a materialist, I'll say through my, investigations and study of the religions of the world, I would say that the Hindu religions are much more enlightened and peaceful. Wouldn't you all say? Than the Abrahamics?
I would have to say that, yeah.
Jeff?
I would agree to that, yes.
So yes, Sip can say, oh, you're 99% bullshit. Well, that 99% bullshit has kept this world more peaceful than any of the supposed 1% of truth that's within Christianity.
No, I don't think he was referring to that. I think he was referring to the claim, the truth claim, which is bullshit.
What do you say, Jeff? I mean, truth or peace? Take your pick.
That's a tough one. I guess peace.
How could they be different?
Yeah, I don't think in the long run.
I
think in the long run they're inseparable.
There's a little phrase in Hinduism, Sat Chit Ananda, which means truth, consciousness, bliss. That's where these things are interwoven. We're talking about words as if they're definitives here. This is the woe of humanity. This is like where most of us are just all tripped up because we have all of these personalized little associations plugged into our head based on an arrangement of letters that were made up. This is why people meditate.
Actually, words are very useful. We use them. They're useful in ways to abstract and to go beyond the concrete level.
You did not hear me say anything about words being a bad thing.
True.
That's another definitive concept also.
You say that there's powers behind words, Jeff. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, yeah, words stand for concepts, or they're ways of economizing thought about the universe.
I wear this because everything that is in us is the power. We have the power to give power to words. That is the great power that is ours. We have the power to make a wall imbued with a higher level of consciousness by praying to it for hundreds of years, like they have had done in Israel. Like the Western Wall, in Israel, is actually imbued with a higher level of consciousness, just like statues and landmarks all over the world.
Well, I think this is a runaway train here. We were talking about words.
Going back to words. It's the same thing. It's conceptual. Like words are connected to material things and concepts.
You're giving consciousness to a stone.
Yes. Yeah. Well, everything does have consciousness already.
How do you know that?
It's actually I think it's probably been proven if you can look at how astrophysicists have looked at electrons.
It's probably been proven.
How they
it's not very
respond
confident.
to the observer. You know, electrons respond to the observer. You know,
When you
there's
say you think it's probably been proven, I don't see any confidence in your assertion.
It's never been proven. We can not really even prove that other people have consciousness. I can't prove that Sid has a conscience.
Once again, we're fighting about the credence and the credit and the value of words. You know, and we can fight over this over and over again.
No, this is about
you specifically said that the Western Wall, the Wailing Wall, has a specific consciousness about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas the stone on the other side of the city has no consciousness.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that at all. Everything is imbued with consciousness.
Okay, then why do you have to go all the way to the Western Wall to start? Why didn't you just say, you know, my microphone's imbued with consciousness or something?
Right.
Yeah, well, I don't pray to this microphone. I don't adore this microphone. I don't.
But you don't pray to the
The
Western
only
Wall
things
either.
that you pray to have consciousness.
No, you're taking my words and running with them. So everything, I already said this, okay? Everything is imbued with consciousness.
You said, but you said your
Everything.
microphone doesn't
when
have
we
consciousness
grant-
because you don't pray to it.
When we grant credit and power and credence and we invest our attention upon certain objects, we can change it on a very small level. Power? What is power? Power is what
What's power?
we...
What's credence? What's all that bullshit? What is it?
Okay, I got a question.
You're just going to pick at my words and call it bullshit.
No,
That's
you
weird.
use
Wait.
It's
Let me ask you a
you.
question.
You're using words as that means some shit, but they don't mean anything. You're using words like power, credence. What do they mean?
All right, let me ask you a question.
So, okay, if you say
Hold on a minute.
words are powerful, then they're going to be powerful to you.
Okay, question. When back in you know, when the universe was first when stars were being formed and stars were exploding, and as a result of all those explosions, the basic elements that we are made of were
You mean like 4,000 years ago?
Were created, right? Now, did those elements have consciousness? Because the rock that you're referring to is made up of those elements.
This is what has been said. I can't say I can prove it, but this has been said.
Then how can you make a claim if you can't prove it? Why should we take you seriously if you say something I can't prove it? What are we supposed to say? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Why should you take anything seriously? You might want to have a lighter sense of humor. You know, you might want to lighten up a little bit if you're concerned about whether or not you should take everything seriously. Because what is it going to do for you if you do take it seriously? What will that change?
Well, we are trying to take you seriously, and we're trying to understand how these arguments can be, you know, why we should take them seriously. And that's why we're sort of critiquing them, because we kind of do want to take you seriously.
Right. Okay. You had something, Cyprian?
Yes, I have something else to say. I would say that, you know, like you said earlier, this is what has been said before.
Yeah.
You take it up the ass. This is what has been said before. It's just the same value as what you said about some other stuff. It's been said before. I could use that thing to whatever means I want.
Right.
You probably take it up the ass because it's been said before, right?
Sure.
That has no value whatsoever.
Exactly. Sure. You know what? What has value? Did you expect $100 to pop out of my mouth? I mean.
I don't know. I'm not talking about monetary value. I'm talking about value, intelligent value, like intellectual value.
You're asking me, like, what is power and what is credence? Now I'm asking you, what is value?
Value, in the sense that we're looking for in this hangout, and Jeff was so adamant about it. So
What's the value? Like, what is the value you're looking for?
Do you think that by interrupting me, you're gonna get anywhere?
No,
like I
mean,
was saying,
seriously.
Jeff so succinctly explained this. The value we're looking for is usable intelligence or information that could be used by means of being being repeated and challenged and reused and in I think I'm paraphrasing, right? We're not paraphrasing, going to the next level in a scientific way. Science, by the way, uses all the things that it's learned to predict shit that's gonna happen. Not in the sense that was that guy, French guy named that predicted the future, but in the sense that if A plus B equals X, what's his name?
Nostradamus.
Whatever. Nostradamus. Not in that sense. Yeah, but not in that sense. Science tries to prove and predict things in a sense that everything that's been calculable and figures out to a certain number or a certain thing is bound to be truth in the next several whatever amount of time or.
So calculability equates to truth.
Well, no, it's an approximation of truth.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Yay.
Yep.
Hello.
Hey, Hermione.
Hey, Hermine.
Hey, Hermine.
Hi, Hermine.
Shit, my bad.
Yeah, I got thrown out. Another R2 of me, I see.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I hardly see one of you, but now I see two.
Yeah, it's feast or famine.
Yeah.
You must be drunk.
You can't have too many.
That's right.
You could definitely have too many libertarians.
Okay, let me ask Hermine. Can I ask you a question real quick, Hermine?
Yeah.
Okay, Hermine, do you like having your beliefs questioned by males?
What kind of belief?
Your beliefs, your personal, deepest held beliefs in spiritual things.
I don't know.
Dude, Bounty, you're so fucked.
Why did you find him to be fucked for asking a question?
Why are you white knighting?
All
these females. They can debate. They can hold their own.
Why are you making a sexist statement because they're females?
Because I mean,
exactly.
It's an observation, man.
Because he's bunto.
Dude.
Yeah.
I know, but he's like white knighting. He's like saying, well, the women can't handle themselves, so he has to intervene, and I think that's pretty insulting myself. I would be insulted if I were female.
I'm like, what? I don't even pay attention to it. I don't know what you're talking about. He invited me into this chat, and I could care less about his opinion when it comes down to it.
Yeah,
he could have invited me in here and decided that I was a piece of shit for saying what I said, and it wouldn't have made a difference to me.
He thinks you and Hermine can't handle like
all of these.
I'm gonna go get some iced tea. I'll be back.
What I've liked about Catherine so far is that she's stood on her
wonderful.
position.
Yes,
very
exactly.
Well.
And I've enjoyed chatting with her.
I enjoyed that.
But Bunto seems to.
I've noticed, like, many a time, females don't enjoy, well, I would say do not look with displeasure on plenty of questions.
Well,
like
thank God they have you here to protect them.
I'm gonna fuck off in about 5 seconds, and I just want to say that this has been probably the greatest hangout of all time, and Sidney would probably remember that I've told him about a year ago, that my first experience on Hangouts was this motherfucker, Texan hillbilly bullshit. Sidney knows probably, or should hopefully remember.
Yeah.
And tonight we had like the opposite of what I had as my first experience. I keep on hearing myself and somebody else's thing. That's why I'm. Anyways, this has been like a cake with the lights on and everything for me. It's been like a happy birthday to me. Everything was fully enjoyable, and
Oh, nice to have you.
I duly enjoyed everything to do with this hangout, and hopefully, Sid.
Despite Mark, you're welcome, Sid.
Maybe we'll make it a weekly thing. We'll try.
It was great seeing you, Cyprian. Happy birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday. I didn't know it was your birthday.
Yeah.
It's not my birthday, it's just...
You said it was a great birthday.
1.5 years. But yeah,
I guess I
thank
did.
you very much.
It's Romanian.
Oh, okay.
Happy Romaniversary.
Yeah, whatever it may be.
Happy Romanian New Year!
I'm Romanian too, by the way.
Bullshit.
Right.
Yeah, well, I'm Romanian, Hungarian, Irish.
All right.
I'm actually
Cool.
I'm related to Romanian aristocracy.
Cool.
I wouldn't
I'm
presume to. I wouldn't presume to ask you to say something in Romanian because I know you bullshitting, but that's cool.
Scumpa draga.
As you siding with me.
She just said something, man.
The way she said it,
I didn't say
she's
Scumpa draga.
100% not Romanian.
Oh, man.
100% not Romanian. But that's cool. That's cool. That's at least she tried. That's cool. Anyways, I'm taking too long. I'm gonna leave it to it.
Go get yourself some mutza.
Good night.
Totally enjoy
Good morning.
this. And
So, where's Hermine? Is she around?
Yeah, there she is.
I think she went to go do something.
I'm
Catherine.
gonna make something too. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay, so is this